Hello, 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 hello. It is Tuesday, another day, another stream. And today we're gonna do something, well, we've done it before, we've done it yesterday, but not in this form, let's say. So basically what we've done is, we have begun the series that I want to do about, the series basically means, or the series that is, I don't know how to say it, the series is basically instructional tutorials. So what that means is that we're gonna pick a character or anything. It doesn't have to be a character, could be something else too. Basically anything that we can sculpt. Mostly, I think we want to stick to sculpting. And then I'm gonna do an instructional tutorial about that. Going through the entire process, explaining, and I guess you could say narrating it, or I guess, talking about the process, what I do and how I do it and why I do it, and so that everybody that wants can follow along, basically. Yesterday, what we've done is we went through the major parts of the face. So the nose, the lips, the eyes, the ears, and all that. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to combine all these together into a character. So the character will be Ryu from Street Fighter, and yeah, that's gonna be today's topic, basically. Welcome back, Surya. I don't know why, but I always add like a little tongue roll to your R. Can join for your life for a few days. I mean, you don't have to be sorry. You can spend your time however you want, and if you want to do it, if you want to join the stream, then I appreciate that. Hope your the time with your grandma was good. And hope you had a great day. Yep. So today we're gonna do an follow along, let's say, instructional tutorial or sculpting session, whatever you want to call it, where we will sculpt Ryu from Street Fighter. I think he has quite a good. So every time I kind of think about the planes of the face or sculpting faces, I think Street Fighter characters are always something that I kind of think about, just because because they sort of very, very strongly highlight the different structures of the face. You can very clearly see the cheekbone. You can very, very clearly see the muscle structure of the face, and I think Ryu is a pretty, a good character to start this sort of series, this instructional series. Yeah, I think he's a good character. We're probably gonna do one of these a week. I think that could be pretty cool. At least that's the plan. I don't know. That's gonna be, I don't like, I guess, what do you call it? I don't like, promising something, but, yeah, that's at least the plan. I already have one for next week. Yeah, but of course I'm always open for suggestions. Welcome, Tala. Big fan of you. I'm watching you every video. It helps me a lot. I appreciate that, and I'm happy that I can help you, or that my videos help you. Thank you for joining. Hope you had a great day, and of course, welcome back, Kutu. Welcome back. Hope you had a great day too. Hope you could enjoy your Tuesday so far. Okay, of course, before we go into Ryu, we're gonna go to the quick sketch, which means after the quick sketch, we're gonna go to Ryu, of course. Later, once I add the timestamps, you can skip to whatever you want to see. In the timeline, you should see the timestamps, or also in the description. So if you only want to see Ryu, then you can do that. Still need to and you still need to add the ones from last week. Yes, last weekend was pretty busy, so I didn't do it. Welcome, Hamkoff. Hello, stranger. Hello to you too. Hope you enjoyed your Tuesday too. Welcome. And of course, Lico. Welcome. What tablet do you use? I use a Wacom Intuos. I think it's called Art. It is not available anymore. Limited edition. You can see with a pen. I don't know what you want to call this. Pen stain. Limited edition. So it's ultra rare. Yeah. You can. this edition doesn't exist anymore. I think there's a similar one. If you go to the Wacom Into Us series, they changed the names for some reason. And I think the one that I have would be the medium. I don't think they sell medium anymore, which is kind of weird. But I have basically not this one. Like my tablet is a little bit bigger than the small one and a little bit smaller than the big one. That's yeah, that's the size that I have. Okay, let's go to Blender so we can get right through this. I'm not quite sure how long we're gonna do, or how long Rio is gonna take. I don't think we're gonna I guess work on it for all too long. The quick sketches where I created characters usually took like an hour. I think that's a pretty good time. Half an hour is usually when I finish the first sketch, and then the rest is basically just cleaning up or refining. So you know, we have like a nice little halfway point where, you know, if anybody wants to stop, they can do that at that point, and they still have like a full character. Can you please show us how can we sculpt a female head? I saw you on your saw you commenting under my videos. Didn't I comment, or didn't I think I answered that I'm, well, that's basically what we're going to do today. Not a female head, but a male head. And next week we're going to do the same that we're going to do today, but for a female character. So maybe that's what you're looking for. We're going to do another follow along instructional tutorial, sculpting session, whatever, but about a female character. So if you want to know, or if you want to learn how to sculpt a female character or female faces, that might be something that might be interesting to you. Yeah. Okay. Oh, of course, if you're looking for just, well, if you want to start with something, you know, well, yesterday, for example, we sculpted the individual parts of the face, so that might be something that you might, you know, that you might be interested in. But of course, then next week we're going to do like a full face, a full female face. Today we're going to do a full male face. Okay. This is the subject that we're gonna, or the reference that we have today. It's I think it's like a troll, from God of War. Troll sketches or concepts, not, you know, full ones. You can see here some arms too. And this one will be today's quick sketch reference. Next week, Chun-Li, not Chun-Li. I have something else in mind. Chun-Li, I wanted to do for something more. We might do. Oh, that could be cool. So of course, because these I still need a good name for it. I think instructional tutorial is cool. Maybe instructional sculpting session sounds cool. I kind of need to see which one I think is better. But Chun-Li might be another. So we could do Chun-Li for something else. That could be a more long-term project. Not long-term in the way, well, mid-term, let's say. Maybe like a few days, or maybe a few, like 1 or 2 weeks. That could be something. The idea that I have, maybe, no promises, okay, could be a full like figurine of Chun-Li. That could be pretty cool. Because I also wanted to practice a little bit more, I guess, full human body anatomy, and I think Chun-Li would be a pretty good, I guess, character for that. And then I could even 3D print her. And, you know, just like this one here. That's my first 3D print that I ever made. There you go. One of my quick sketches. I think this one's, I think, from 2 weeks ago. That's when I finished my first one. Here's the smaller version. But this one I kind of played around and tried some things here and there. And then this one's the full version. There you go. I have a white material that I use to print, no colors. I added, I guess, the black with the gray with graphite, or whatever, like a graphite pen or a pencil. So it kind of, you know, you always have it on your hands, but you know, at least it has some color now. I still need to kind of figure out how I want to color them. Okay, let's go and do this. There you go. Yeah, I mean, we can start with this and then we can go to Rio. Good thing is if you're watching on YouTube and you know, join later, or you miss a part, or you wanna, I don't know, watch something again, you can always, I guess, rewind. You can't do that on Twitch, so that's one advantage when you're watching on YouTube. Okay, I think we can begin. Let's begin the quiz sketch in 3, 2, 1, go. Perfect. Okay. So this one is interesting. It has sort of like somewhat human head, but not really. It looks somewhat like a, well, it's a troll, but well, you can see it has a mouth, it has a nose. I think it also has eyes. Maybe they're overgrown now, but still. So we can still work, or we can still start with the basic human workflow beginning, let's say. And then at some point we need to, you know, switch. We need to do some freestyling, but that shouldn't be too hard. Of course, it's just a quick sketch, so we can't even focus on the details too much. Okay. So I think what I want to focus on first is the sort of front part here. Getting the big shapes in, of course, as always. Actually, no, I want to go, you know what? Why not? Use the nose, and then I'm going to include the mouth too. There you go. There's the mouth. Easy. Yeah, so as I said before, I think I want to do one of these instructional sculpting tutorials, at least in the near future. You know, every week. I think that could be pretty cool. So that what I always see is there are a lot of tutorials for sort of like Blender hard surface. Well, so it seems like there are a lot of tutorials or follow along tutorials about hard surface modeling, like lightsabers or I don't know, cars or whatever that, you know, basically everything except sculpting. And then there follow along tutorials for sculpting, but only really for the beginners, basically, you know, learning how to draw or how to sculpt the nose, individual parts of the face, for example. And there isn't really like a you know, instructional or follow along sculpting video for full characters, for example. The only thing that you have that is somewhat like that would be or at least I haven't found them. they might exist, but I haven't found them. I think the closest that you'll find are like speed arts, or whatever you want to call them, like time lapses. But I haven't really found any like you know, full character sculpt tutorials, I guess. And that's a shame. Can't wait for that series and follow along. Ooh, nice, that's nice. Yeah. I'm excited to do it. I always try to find sort of new ways to sort of I guess bring people into Blender, or just kind of, you know, I don't know, help people in, I guess, use Blender. And I think that could be a cool thing to do, because you can not only you can sort of switch between difficulties, you know. One time maybe we create like a full bust of whatever, maybe, I don't know, maybe we create a full bust of Thanos, and then the next time, you know, which would be more for advanced, or I guess experts, you know, difficulty expert. And then you could switch back to something simpler, like a small owl, or like a whatever, which would then be more for beginners, which you know, which can kind of cover all the I guess all the steps in your sculpting journey. Hold on, I need to pull up something. Somebody just followed on Twitch, so I need to look up who it is, because I can't see it in my small preview window. Thank you, Suda211. Hope you enjoyed your Monday. Thank you for following. Hope you enjoyed the stream if you're still here. Which focal length is best for sculpting? 50. I am used to 50, but I think when it comes to character sculpting, I want to switch to 85, because that's usually sort of a good mix between the face being fairly flat but not too flat, which I think yeah, I think 85 is sort of not necessarily the best, but it's very good for characters. So I kind of want to get more comfortable with 85. I just need to kind of you know, kind of think, I guess remind myself to set it to 85. You can see the difference if I switch it. If I switch it now from 50 to 85, it's a little bit flatter. You could see we zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, 85 is very good for characters. Of course, these streams, these follow along sessions, tutorials, instructional, I'm gonna call them instructional tutorials, okay? They are they're gonna be on my video channel too, and I think I'm gonna upload, or I'm gonna provide a link with my blend file, so that if you want to have all the what is it, all the shortcuts and keybinds and all that, you can just use mine. Have the same window layout too. I don't actually know if keybinds transfer over too. I can't even remember. I think so, right? I think so. So if you want to have that, then you can just get it. I'm new to Blender and I want to learn how to sculpt in Blender. I use ZBrush. Ooh, nice. I mean, if you know ZBrush, then you're already off to a great start. It's not really that different. I guess the only difference is, I always like to say, if somebody asks like, hey, you know, I want to switch from 3D program A to Blender, you know, are there any tips or whatever? I always like to say, it's not really that different. The only thing that you kind of need to figure out is like the concepts are the same. You just need to figure out how to use the tools in Blender. So if you know how to sculpt in ZBrush, you don't need to relearn how to sculpt in Blender. You just need to relearn, or you need to learn how the tools work, so that you can get back to sort of how you worked in ZBrush. He kind of looks like a sloth. Yeah, so, you know, if you have any questions, then you can always ask. How much experience do you have in years? Do you mean me? I have 3. Let's say 3. Let's say around 3. Next month is gonna be my 3-year anniversary. Not necessarily Blender sculpting, but more Blender in general. I think I've started Blender sculpting in Blender in like in maybe a few months after starting. And yeah, so you know, it's a little bit longer until I reach my 3-year anniversary of sculpting, I guess. I think that Blender is better than ZBrush. I think it depends on what you're looking for in a 3D software, I guess. But ZBrush is, you know, is specialized in sculpting. So if you wanna sculpt, you wanna create the best sculpts, I would say maybe ZBrush might be the best choice. If you want to, you know, do everything, you want to create your character, sculpt your character, for example, you want to retopologize it, you want to paint it, and you also want to create, like, you know, all the textures, basically. That's what I mean with painting. And then also render it. Blender might be the better option, and also it's free, so you know, you can't go wrong with that, I guess. Welcome back, Memers Haven. I see you have your twin with you, your Twitch twin. Welcome. Hope you're enjoyed your Tuesday, not Monday, Tuesday. You know what? So here's a quick tip if you want to create horns in Blender. So we have this dude here, and the way I like to create horns is, first of all, I'm going to grab my mask brush, which is this one down here, this one. But then I'm going to draw the shape that I want the horn to be. So it would be something like this, or this orc or troll or whatever. That would be the shape that I want to go for. Maybe even a little bit bigger here. There you go. That would be the horn shape. We're going to fill it out. And then we're going to invert the mask. Now we're going to switch to the snake hook brush, which is this one. The squiggly line, as I like to call it. Switch to that. And then we're going to go to the fall off setting right here on the right side. Right here, fall off setting. And we're going to switch that from smooth to linear. And then once we have that, we can just go into the middle of this drawn shape and we can pull it out. We can make the cursor quite big and then we just zip. And there you go. If you go a little bit further, we can create some nice horns. The thing about linear fall off is that it basically changes the tip of, I guess, the horn. So smooth will have a smoother tip and linear will have quite a pointy tip. And then if you're not quite happy, you can just still use the smooth brush by just holding shift to kind of refine it a little bit. There you go. Easy. You can of course also use the crease brush to kind of refine it too. There you go. How are you? Pretty good. Hope you know. Today we're gonna actually do a full character. I always like creating full characters, so this today is a good day, hopefully. And yeah, work is pretty chill right now, so nothing too crazy. Hope you've been doing fine too. How do you use smooth brush in Blender, for example? In ZBrush I use shift and click. Yeah, you do the same in Blender. You just any brush, well, almost any brush, holding shift and then using the brush lets you use the smooth brush. And if you want to use the smooth brush itself, you can also do that. It's this one here. That's the smooth brush. But you can also just hold shift. Oh, I also fixed my my language switch problem. So I figured out how to actually open up that window where what I complained about, where it automatically switches. So you can switch the what is it? Keyboard language by holding Alt and Shift. Of course I deactivated it now. It's super annoying to deactivate it. But there's another one. If you press Windows and then spacebar, you can also pull up a window to switch the language. I think that's what I pulled up by accident for some reason. You know why I laughed? Because of the tutorial that I watched where I figured out how to deactivate the Shift and Alt function. Is the tutorial I watched was from someone that just figured it out and was like super pissed off by Windows, and that he just, he basically just hit record after furiously trying to figure it out after like 10 hours or 3 hours, and he just made that tutorial real quick, and he actually vented at the end like, oh, this garbage program. I've never seen one of those tutorials before where someone just made a tutorial out of rage. I have a problem with the union brush. To sculpted object becomes disappear. Can you please help? The Boolean brush, or when you union them, I think that usually has to do with the geometry of those objects. And if you what oftentimes helps for me is either switch it from exact to fast in the modifier settings, or you can also move the object, one of the objects, just like a tiny amount. You can hold shift, then if you hold shift you can move it even slower, I guess. That oftentimes fixes it for me. And that if that doesn't help, then I don't know. Those are the things that usually help for me. Welcome, Dark Abe. Hope you enjoyed your day. Welcome. The method is same for a character's neck, but the fall of it stays smooth. Yeah, for the neck I usually use smooth. You can also use constant if you want. Constant works pretty well here too. So for him, for example, he has like a trunk neck. You can just make a big snake hook brush and then just zip. There you go. Problem is, you know, you don't have any fall off, so it creates these sharp edges, which, you know, you probably don't want. I don't really know the difference between smooth and smoother. The only thing that I know about it is that it's smoother than smooth. But I don't really know how that affects the look, I guess. With clothes and hair everything, language settings only on Lenovo products, right? Lenovo? No, I don't have Lenovo. I built my own PC. Wait, somebody helped me, I guess. So, that's just a standard Windows function. I installed the English language on my PC last weekend, and now it always likes to switch for some reason. But I think I fixed it now. What do you think, which is better, Blender or 3ds Max? I've never used 3ds Max, so I don't know. The only thing that I saw at some point is that 3ds Max takes quite a while to load. That's the only thing that I know about it. I think 3ds Max is actually the 3D program that I know the least about. I've never used any other 3D program than Blender, but 3ds Max is the one that I know, I guess, the least about. You know, Maya has great hair tools and retopology tools. ZBrush is, you know, great for Sculpt, for example. And 3ds Max is, I don't know, sounds like it's similar to Blender. But it, you know, but you have to pay for it. That's what I know about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, Blender's free, which makes it great for beginners because you can do everything that you basically can do in a 3D pipeline in Blender. And then if you wanna, for example, I guess specialize on something, you can maybe choose a different software that is more specialized on that, for example. Like ZBrush, for example. So if you really want to go very, very deep into sculpting, or you know you don't do anything else than sculpting, then ZBrush might be the better option. He kind of looks like he's snuck up in a little cozy blanket. I don't know if that's not what I wanted. We need more volume. Does the dynamic topology does it cause bad topology? Maybe. Maybe that could be the problem. But yeah, you could try what is it called? There's the modifier is called Decimate, I think. Decimate could help. Decimate, I think, tries to reduce the amount of geometry that you have in areas where it works, without changing the look, I guess you could say. That might work. Yeah, ZBrush is the best, as far as I can see, when it comes to sculpting. Like a full-on smooth sculpting experience, I guess. $11 minutes, okay. Okay, so we can see we have a clear distinction between the two. Let's kind of merge them together now. Create some folds here. My nose is itching. I'm a beginner in 3D, but I know how to sculpt in real life. Oh, I want to do that at some point. But I haven't found... Well, I would either have to buy a sculpting kit myself, I guess, or I would have to go to some sort of event. But I haven't found any events near me yet. What is this black, these lines here, you mean? These lines are unimportant, okay? Those are important for the camera. They're basically controls for the camera, so that I can control what the camera's looking at and where the depth of field is. Where the focus point for the depth of field is, basically, for the camera. So they're not really important right now. Okay. Pete Raid? Pete Raid? What does that mean? It's, Mr. Unknown. 7 million topology in Blender or in ZBrush? I think you mean ZBrush, right? 90 million polygons. Oh, yeah. I think I heard someone. I heard you. Oh no. Wait. Somebody is raiding. Hold on. No, Pete, der Allerechte. I see. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed your hope you enjoyed your Tuesday. Thank you for the raid. I don't know why, but for some reason, I guess the raids don't show up. I usually have alerts for it, but apparently, apparently those are not existent anymore. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hope you had a great day. Had a great day and also a great stream. Welcome. As you can see, we're doing a quick sketch. This is not what we're going to do today, of course. If you want to follow along, you can do that, of course. I don't know what you do on your stream, but if you're doing sculpting too, maybe you want to follow along in this follow-along sculpting or instructional sculpting tutorial, you could say. We're going to sculpt Rio today. Yesterday we went through all the, I guess, individual parts of the face, so today we're going to combine them into a character. And I thought Rio might be a good choice. You could maybe even do it in real life. You could maybe even do the same. I guess that we actually no. I think you have to work a little bit differently in real life than in Blender. You can't just add more geometry or more volume by just using a brush. You can basically only subtract, I guess. He mostly streams games. Doesn't mean that you can't sculpt. Okay. Doesn't mean that you can't sculpt. That's the intention for these tutorials, I want to make a range. I want to have a range where you not only have, characters, for example, that I guess advanced or I guess experts can sculpt, but also, easier ones. With this one might be a little bit harder. But I think if you know this, of course I try to make it as easy as possible. Exactly, every gamer has a hidden sculptor inside of them. Exactly. Okay, let's refine the horns a little bit. I think what I usually like to do is clay strips. Clay strips have a nice layering effect, and which makes it very easy to just add a little bit more structure here. There you go. Just, do some squiggly lines. You can see I just destroyed my horns. That's exactly what I didn't want. We can avoid that though with front faces only. There you go. Then you need to do LP and next HP. What do you mean? Health and wait, what? Life points and health points? First you spend your life and then you spend your health? Or what do you mean? Oh, yeah. So, well, that's how I work. I think that's how you usually work in ZBrush too, right? You start pretty low poly, but then you increase your, I guess your sculpt as more and more. But I think at some point in ZBrush, what you would do is you would use the remesher, the integrated remesher, and then you would just use subdivisions rather than just continuing with the rough sculpt. We could do that here too, but I wanted to do that, but I'm not going to do that in these instructional tutorials, I guess, because I would use a add-on that I bought, a retopology add-on. Dude, my nose is just going crazy. You know, and I'm not gonna require you to buy it to do the same. The integrated retopology, I guess, the integrated retopology tools are not that great. Or automatic retopology, let's say. ZBrush low poly is high poly as compared to Blender. Yeah. I don't even remember what my highest sculpt was. It wasn't that much. I think you can go higher if you don't use dynamic topology. But still. I'm actually kind of curious how far you can go. But I think it gets laggy quite quickly. So there's really like a huge difference. I'm inevitable, exactly. Yeah. The worst is I have you know, allergies, especially in, you know, pollen allergy. And I remember once in school, so what so okay, let's rewind back to the beginning of the day. First of all, welcome back. Yay. Yeah. Let's say I'm gonna call you Jade, if that's okay. That's the best way I can say it. Or you can also say me. You can also tell me how it, you know, supposed to be pronounced. Okay, I'll see you, Pete. Thank you for joining for the raid. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. You don't like Substance Painter for textures? I haven't tried it yet. I could use it because I have the Creative Cloud, but I haven't tried it yet. So what happened is, one day I went to my school for my apprenticeship with my bike, of course, and the street or the road that I usually take is through like a lake, not like next to a lake, and then next to a river too, and there are a lot of trees, and then in the fall they all, you know, spit out all of their pollen. So I, you know, on this strait of like, I don't know, 500 meters or so, it's just like covered in pollen, and I just need to drive through that, of course, because I need to go I need to get to school. So I drive through. It didn't really itch when I drove through it. It really began when I then, you know, relaxed in school and, you know, was in school doing some sort of group project, that it kind of hit me, and I needed to, you know, sometimes, you know, you can usually resist scratching whatever is itchy, but sometimes you just say screw it, and you just scratch as hard as you can, you know, and that's what I did there. And of course my eyes were itchy, so I just sat there and was just like, you know, trying to make it stop. It didn't stop, and then at some point it kind of stopped, and then I you know, tried to kind of get back to the project, and somebody looked at me and said like, hey, you know, I think you should check yourself in the bathroom. And so I go to the bathroom, I look at the mirror, my eyes were just like pure red, as if I hit the biggest blunt in my life, basically, you know. So I looked like I was high out of my mind, like my eyes were completely red. But at least after washing my face, I could stop the itching, and, you know, at some point it stopped. But, you know, that was kind of crazy. I think that was the worst, I guess, allergy sort of reaction that I had so far. I never really have like crazy, extreme allergy reactions. I also have, I guess, pills, not pills, but I guess you could say pills to kind of mitigate the effects, so it's not too bad. Yeah, but if I don't have them, it can get quite annoying. Best program for textures? Yeah, it seems so. The way, or from the things that I've seen, it seems like Substance Painter is really good for textures and all that. Okay, so to finish this, what I want to do is I want to give it some asymmetry, just to finish it off, to make it look a little bit more organic. I'm not going to change too much. Okay. Maybe even add some more smaller details here. There you go. Maybe at some point we'll look into Substance Painter too. Maybe even Marvelous Designer, because I like Marvelous Designer a lot. I have used it 2 years ago, I think the last time. And maybe I'll pick it back up. Because it's really, really fun to use. Really intuitive. Okay. There you go. That looks kind of like a... Well, it doesn't really look like the one down there, but I guess it looks like something. That's good enough. Let's save it. Okay. Learning Blender with Blender Guru. That's a good one. Have you done the donut? I don't know if Blender Guru has a lot of sculpting tutorials. I know that he included sculpting in his anvil tutorial. That's one I've done. I don't know if he's really doing a lot of sculpting tutorials. I know that he learned it a little bit. He posted some stuff on Twitter, but I don't think he's that much into sculpting himself. 3, 4, 5. There you go. Okay. Yeah, but for basics, he's really good. So, last thing. We're going to grab the good old trim brush. And we're going to do this. Ooh. Wait. No, I want to use the project tool. Look at that. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, let's render it. Let's bring back the camera. Now I can show you what these arrows do. So here's the camera, of course. There you go. You can see the camera down there. If I move the camera, you can see that's the camera. Let's create a nice little shot for this. So these empties, I can now show you what they do. If I move this one, you can see the camera focuses on this empty, so I can place it somewhere, and then the camera always focuses on this subject, I guess. And the other one is for depth of field. Depth of field is basically that you have like a certain point that is in focus, and then the further you go away from that focus point, either to the camera or away from the camera, the blurrier everything gets. Very, very useful for macro shots, for example, like insects. Can you add brushes in Blender? Yep, you can do that. There are some free custom brushes. Yeah. You can load your own texture. Yeah, you can also just create your own. Yeah. I've actually created a few for skin, but I don't really use them for in sculpting, just because sculpting very, very small details doesn't really work that well. Okay. Good thing is that this one doesn't have any eyes or eyeballs. It doesn't require eyeballs, so it's easier. Oh, there you go. Okay, maybe a little bit closer. Kind of looks like Thanos in old with horns. Okay. So next up, we need light. Let's grab the light from an older project. Nope, that's in here. Perfect. There it is. Remove this, and then we're gonna grab this area light. I think that looks pretty cool. I like small light because they can create very, very sharp shadows, and I think something like this would be cool. Maybe even right above him. There you go. That's pretty cool. We can kind of highlight the structure in his face. And then we can use one more. Hold on, I'm going to reduce the background strength. There you go. To kind of lighten up everything a little bit. There you go. So we have like a medium shadow, we have a dark shadow, and then we have, of course, highlights. And then we're going to use the color in the back to give him some color. Maybe on the right side. There you go. Let's use a different color than green though, because I've been using green for quite a while. You playing something? Hold on. Okay, did you know that the environment in Arcane was 2D painted and the character were added afterwards? Oh, wait. So the whole thing was 2D? Wait, there were just JPEG images? I mean, I can see it. Well, so did they do that for everything or just for the stuff that is that they don't interact with? Or did they do it for everything, even tables and all that? Because that would be interesting. I can see how they do it, but it's an interesting approach. You playing something? I've read something about that where it says like Arcane is mostly 2D. I didn't watch it, but I kind of thought about it. But I didn't know that they meant like the whole background. It looks very painterly, so I kind of had the idea of it, but I didn't really think about it too much. Okay, color. You playing something? What do you mean? Music? Can you hear the music? You should be able to. You should be able to. But it's definitely underestimated in a lot of things. Yeah, I think right now it's sort of the time where everybody sort of, I guess, wakes up to Blender, especially because they, you know, I think especially since 2.8, I think it became way more production friendly, and then of course the further you go, the better it gets. Okay, which color? How long have you been using? Have you been sculpting in general? Since I started sculpting in Blender, so 2.5 years ago. Everything interactable and character with 3D, rest environment was 2D. Yeah. Blender is like the one underrated anime. Yeah. And then at some point, you know, you watched it a few years ago, and then everybody says like, hey, have you watched this before? And then you're like, yeah, I watched it a few years ago. You're late to the party. But they're not late to the party because now now it becomes mainstream. So it's not, it's not, you're basically the nerd that watched it before. Now everybody kind of wakes up to it. Okay, color, hold on. I'm confused. Okay, what do we have here? We have green. Green is what I used yesterday. We have red. Oh. We have pink. Orange. I think it's time for a bluish tone. Maybe purple bluish? Let's see. That could be cool. Hold on. What if we go for bright blue or dark blue? Maybe something icy. So it looks like a Yeti. Like this. And then we can add purple in the PP, aka post-production. Welcome, Just a Mouse. Hope you enjoyed your Tuesday. Do you want to join in today's instructional tutorial? Do you want to sculpt Rio too? Okay. Oh, here you go. I can show you what depth of field does. So if I place this now on his nose, for example, there you go. And then I enable depth of field here in the camera settings. You can see the nose is perfectly sharp. But if you, for example, go to the horn, oh, maybe not the horn. The horn is pretty. Please. Let's see which part is. Oh, hold on. I need to change one more thing. The depth of field right now is quite big. If we reduce it to 0.4, which is what I usually do, you can see the nose is still pretty sharp. But if you go to the horn, for example, you can see the edge gets kind of blurry. And the further it's away from the focus point, focus plane rather, as you can see there, the blurrier it gets. Really useful for if you want to make your sculpts a little bit more realistic. Okay. Let's do the first render. Purple? Yeah, we're gonna add purple later. The way it was made. Oh. Yeah. It has a very painterly style to it. It's similar to what they use for the Valorant and League of Legends, or the new Valorant and League of Legends cinematics. where some of the shadows are basically painted into the model. Okay. There you go. We have the glare node. Look at that. A little bit of glow right there. I think that's actually pretty good. Let's use lens distortion too. 0.05. There you go. A little bit of rainbow up there. Looks pretty cool actually. Let's finish it. Save it and 100% resolution and render. Oh. Perfect. Okay. Let's save the image. Quick sketch day 3, 4, 5. There you go. Perfect. Okay, let's switch to Photoshop and finish this bad boy. Copy, go back to Smart Object, Filter, Camera Raw Filter. Okay, now we can add purple. First of all, I think the temperature is okay. We don't need blue. What I want to add is a little bit of a purple tint, first of all. Like this. Not too much. This is just the tint. Oh, I actually forgot one thing, but now it's too late. Should we change the contrast? It's quite bright already in the highlights, so I don't want to stretch it too much. So that's okay. Shadows. A little bit darker maybe. Make it sharper and clearer. Same for the vibrance. Add some more saturation or vibrance. We have another saturation dial. And then we go to color mixer. No, to color grading. Let's grade some colors. We're going to begin with the shadows. We're going to make it deep purple. Actually, or blue. I think I want to make it blue and then... Oh, actually, no, we're going to use purple. There you go. And then go to the midtones too. And add a little bit of purple here too. That might be a little too much, but I think that's okay. That's after. That's before. Quite a big change, but we're not done yet. Let's go to effects. Add the good old grain. I like to use 50 and then vignette too. There you go. So this is Oh, hello. This is after, and this is before. You can see quite a change. And now we've added some purple too. Hope you're happy. Perfect. I think since you added the light shining from above, it would be a good idea to add some dust particles. Yeah, I think the noise sort of acts like dust in the air. I don't want to do too much in here. I just want to add like a little bit more, you know, a little bit more spice to it. I don't want to spend too much time working on this. Because, well, it's just a quick sketch, you know. There you go. Quick sketch day 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Bone is already locked in. Let's get back to Blender. Okay. You're gonna look at this handsome thing while I import it into my phone, and then you're gonna see a quick compilation of what I've done last year in March and February. Quick compilation. And then we're gonna go to Rio. We're gonna go to the actual topic of today's stream. Come on, please open. What are you doing? Which means we're gonna do a follow along. Oh no, I still need to find a good name for it. I like follow along because it's sort of self-explanatory. Instructional, I haven't heard that too much. but it also makes sense. But it kind of sounds like instructional and tutorial are sort of the same thing. I could be wrong though. For now, I'm going to call it instructional video. Okay. We're going to do an instructional Blender sculpting session, let's say, where we create a Ryu from a sphere, of course. Everybody that you know, has followed yesterday or that has created some faces in their lives, I'm calling it advanced sculptors, can follow this. Oh, hold on, I'm completely lost. There you go. And it should take roughly, you know, maybe an hour, maybe a little bit longer. There you go. Okay. The difference between the render before and after the post-production is huge. Yeah, that's why I love the camera raw filter, and I'm glad I found it, because it's such a huge change between before and after. And I can't live without it, now that I know about it. Okay. You can probably do something similar in Blender. It just takes a little bit longer. Good thing is now, well, if you can set it up in Blender, you can just, you know, copy the nodes into every project, and then you always have the same settings. But, you know, it's, yeah, you know, if you want to do that, I guess you can do that. Okay. You're going to see the quick compilation. I'm going to see you in 3 minutes, and then we're going to begin with Ryu. So I hope you enjoy the compilation. Okay. Once again, I'm too slow. Give me a sec. Yeah, I'm too slow. Give me a sec. Once again, you're looking at me, and I'm just looking down at my phone. The first post on my homepage. Which one? You mean my post? Okay. There you go. 3, 4, 5. There you go. Okay. We're done. Perfect. So, yeah, let's go to Ryu. Of course, because I'm gonna upload this to YouTube. I'm gonna do a quick intro, I guess. So don't be confused. My mouse is glitched. There you go. You know, just to kind of I guess, yeah, to make it easier on myself afterwards. Usually what I did is I would just do an intro afterwards, but I want to try and do some on stream, so that I have some, I guess, some options, Okay. Do I need anything? I think we're good. I think we can. Oh, hold on. We need to set up the scene. There you go. Okay. We don't need this. Well, we're gonna create a new one. There you go. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, I think we're ready. Get your pens, get your tablets ready, get your mouses ready. Doesn't matter what you use. Let me drink something real quick and then we can begin. Okay, there's one more thing that I want to add. I'm going to go to sculpting and I'm going to add the reference. Reference is always good. So we're going to use the thumbnail as reference. There you go. So we have something we can, look back on if we have some, so we don't miss anything. Okay. Perfect. Okay. I think we're ready. Nice. Yeah, so if you want to, do this afterwards, I will probably make a blend file available in the description of the video then, to download my blend file so that you have my setup. So stuff like, of course, you don't need this. Maybe I'll remove it. We'll see. But you have like the this setup here, which is not necessarily important, but especially the sculpting part here. And I hope also the I guess the shortcuts, the hotkeys, that I use, so that you don't have to always look for the right one. And you can use the ones that I have. Of course, you might have your own shortcuts, but maybe you don't. Okay. Okay, perfect. Let's begin. There you go. So, welcome to another. I like to call it now the instructional sculpting tutorial or follow along sculpting session. This is the next one. The first few were about sculpting the individual parts of the face. So today what we're going to do is we're going to sculpt Ryu from Street Fighter. I think Street Fighter characters always have very, very defined faces. They can really, really show you the structure of the face. And I think to start, for I like to call it advanced users of Blender or sculptors of Blender, let's say. I think that's a good start into sculpting, full characters, or at least the faces. So what we're going to do today is we're going to sculpt Ryu's reuse face basically, or you know, the character Ryu. We're not going to go to the full body, of course. We're not going to add arms, but we're going to do a bust. We're going to include the face and also the neck. That's going to be the goal today. The way that I have it planned is that it's going to be something like 30 minutes is going to be the first sketch. So if you want to bail out or, you know, do something else after 30 minutes or whatever, you can do that. Of course, you can always rewind and all that and pause. So, you know, except if you're live, I guess, here. But yeah, we're going to finish the first sketch roughly in 30 minutes. And then we're going to go into the refining period afterwards. And then the hair will come after finishing the head, I guess. So if you want to see the hair, you need to watch until the end, I guess. But yeah, we're going to sculpt Ryu today. You can use a pen, you can use a tablet. You can use a tablet, you can use a mouse, doesn't really matter here, mouse too. Whatever suits you, you can use both to sculpt. The only difference is that you have pressure sensitivity on your pen, which you of course don't have with your mouse, but that doesn't really make a huge difference. So you can choose whatever you want. This is a more advanced tutorial, so I'm not going to go over where you can find all these sculpting brushes. I'm going to just, you know, select them and then use them. It's more going to be a narration of what I do rather than how you get to doing it, you know. So if you're still unsure, for example, how you or what the brushes are or how you use them, then maybe the first few tutorials are a little bit better. The first few instructional sculpting tutorials or sculpting sessions might be better, because there I fully explain where all the brushes are and how to use them basically. Okay, what we're going to use for this is, of course, a sphere, because I like using spheres to sculpt my pieces, and I think it's the best way to start. We need not only one sphere, we need two spheres. So we're going to duplicate the sphere again, put it aside. This will be for the eyes. The one in the middle will be for the head, and this will be for the eyes. If you want to use the same, I guess, if you want to use the blend file that I have here, I'm probably going to put a link in the description to download my blend file so that you have all the same setup that I have. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's all that we need here in the layout mode. Let's switch to the sculpting mode so we can begin. There you go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to retopologize this or remesh it, because otherwise we will work with dynamic topology. So remeshing it will erase all the error messages that we might get. So we're going to press Ctrl R, which will immediately remesh the sphere, and now we can go to the brush settings. There are a few brush settings that I want to include. Of course, you can already see the subject as a reference down here. This one is not important. Yours might look a little bit different, maybe something more like this. More like this, there you go, without the chat, of course. But, you know, as long as you have a sculpting window, I guess that's all that matters. There you go. So, let's go to the brush settings. The brush settings that are important is, first of all, we're going to enable symmetry. So we're going to enable mirror X right there under the symmetry tab. And then we're going to enable dynamic topology. Enable that. And then we're going to use resolution 20, subdivide collapse, and constant detail. I use constant detail because I like to control with what resolution I'm sculpting. And relative detail is basically a dynamically changing resolution, which I don't like. So yeah, we're going to use constant detail. And that's basically all the settings that we need for now. When we refine it, we're going to increase the resolution, but for now we don't really need to change anything. So let's begin with with sculpting, you know. What we're going to use first is the snakehook brush. So, you know, the little squiggly line down here. What we're going to do is we're going to sculpt the head first, and then once we have a rough head, we can add the neck, and then, yeah, refine the face, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin by sculpting the head shape first. You can already see his head down here a little bit. Of course, it's shown from the side, but that's not too bad. We're going to begin by adding the chin first. So we're going to use the cursor, make the cursor just roughly as big as the sphere is. We're going to go not in the middle of the brush, or not in the middle of the sphere, but a little bit aside from that. Leave some space in the middle, and then we're just going to drag it down like this. Not too much, not too long. Maybe half of the sphere, add half of the sphere in length. There you go. We're going to go to the side, and we're going to go to a 3/4 view like this. And then we're going to select this side here that we've just created, this edge. And we're going to take it, we're going to use the snake hook brush again and draw it to the right. Like this. There you go. Might look a little bit weirder. If it looks something like this, we can also go Control Z and increase the cursor a little bit so we can create a cleaner line. Something more like this, for example. There you go. So now we've added the chin. You can see the head is quite wide. So let's change that. I also want to hide the sphere because we don't need it right now. It's kind of interfering with what we're doing. There you go. Okay. If you also want to do that, you can see, you can just go into the outliner and, you know, hide it. Okay. So now that we have the head, let's adjust the head shape. The most important thing for the head shape is, first of all, we want to make it, I guess, slimmer. So we're just going to use the snake hook brush again and just push it into the middle. A good way to start is making the brush very big and then starting somewhere here in that height, pushing it together like this, maybe even up here a little bit more, so that we get something more like, maybe that's a little bit too much. There you go, something more like this. Okay. What's important for this is that the round part up here is wider than the chin. And the chin can also be quite straight downwards, like this. There you go. So now that we have that, one thing that I want to adjust is the chin. So we're going to take the chin with the snake hook brush and we're going to bring it back a little bit so that it's sort of in the same line as everything else here in the front. We can maybe even line this up, but that's too important. And then there's one more thing that I want to do to refine the front of the face. We're going to switch to the grab brush, this one right there, and we're going to select the side part of the head right here. What we're going to do with that is we're going to grab the grab brush, we're going to make it quite big, we're going to press, hold, and then push it into the middle. So we can narrow down the front of the face, basically, the temple of his face, basically. So that if we look from the top, it will look something more like this. Like a trapezius, you could say. You could maybe even narrow this part a little bit more too. Not too much, just a little bit. Rio from Persona. Oh. Okay. Now that we have that, we can already see we have the top part of the head. We have the lower part of the head. What I want to do before we go to the face is I want to fill out the jaw. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to use the crease brush. So this one right there. We're going to use it to make a little cut here to sort of create a nice clear line where the jaw ends. You can see right here how we create this nice line right there, this ending for the jaw. And then we can also use the clay strips brush to flatten this part a little bit, just a little bit, like this. There you go. We can then you hold shift to smooth it. Just kind of do this. There you go. Make it nice and flat. There you go. And then I also want to fill up this shape here, basically down here. You can see it has like a hole or like a dip. I want to fill out that dip by just adding more volume here with the clay strips brush. There you go. I want to make it smooth again, so I'm going to hold shift again to smooth the surface. Do the same here. Perfect. So we already have the head now. Now we can go to the face. Actually, let's see. Do I need to adjust my head a little bit more? I think it's pretty good. One thing you can do is you can go and press 1 on your numpad to go into the front view. You can also do the same if we go to view, viewpoint, and then front. That'll also lead you to the same view. And there you can more easily see how wide your head is without any I guess, viewport distortions. I think that's pretty good. There you go. We might adjust it later anyway. Okay. Welcome, polyhedral cathedral. I see what you did there. Okay. Okay. So now that we have the head shape, let's begin with the eyes. Maybe my head is a little bit too long, so I'm going to push it a little bit up. That might be different for yours. I'm just going to push mine up just a little bit. There you go. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to use the clay strips brush. I want to create the eye holes for his skull. The eye holes generally are in the middle of the head. height-wise. So we're just going to go and kind of measure with our eyes where the middle of the sculpt is. Probably somewhere over here. We're going to create the eye holes, somewhat like ovals that sort of point down just a little bit. Maybe they could even be, you know, just round cubes, you could call it. Make them fairly deep. There you go. And then what we want to do is we're going to rotate to the side. Switch to the grab brush. We're going to go closer so that we can see the side of the, I guess, wall that that separates to the both eye holes. We're going to grab the grab brush. We're going to select that wall and we're going to pull it back a little bit. There you go. So that we make the forehead sort of flat. And then we already have like the beginning of the nose. Another thing that we want to do here is we want to select the outer wall of the eye hole here. And we're going to draw it back or move it back a little bit too. There you go. And then we already have the eye holes. Let's go to the next part. Let's add the general shape for the nose and for the lips. For that, I want to use the snakehook brush. We're going to go to the side again, or somewhat not fully to the side, because we want to see the middle of the nose or the middle of the face. We want to go a little bit lower than, you know, eye height, just a little bit lower, roughly where the nose tip could be. If you don't really exactly know where it should be, one way you could sort of measure it is to look at the bottom of the nose is roughly where the ending of the skull is. Your skull might look a little bit rounder, so you might have to push it a little bit higher, but that's roughly where the position is. But you just go a little bit lower than the eye holes and that should work out quite well. We can still change it later. So we're going to go and select the middle with our snakehook brush, and we're just going to pull it forward. Not too much, he has quite a flat nose. There you go. Then we're going to fill this volume here, or this sort of curve. We're going to flatten it by just pulling this geometry out too. There you go. Perfect. So we already have the nose. Looks already like a face. A little bit at least. I might need to pull my nose tip a little bit higher. So it looks something more like this. There you go. Okay. Could you use a boolean to reduce the ocular cavities? You mean these here? You could... I don't really use... I mean, I guess the best way to change everything here would be to sculpt. I think booleans would take a little bit longer than you need to if you would just use the sculpt tools. Okay. So now that we have that, we can begin sort of, I guess... Yeah, we need to add a little bit more structure to the face. So what I want to do now is I want to go to the side of the eyes here. And what I want to do is I want to just use the clay strips brush again. And I want to use it on the side here. What I plan on doing here is I plan on making this round surface here a little bit flatter. So I just try to make it nice and flat. Another way we can do this is by just using the smooth brush, holding shift with any sculpting brush basically. Make it nice and flat. So that if you look from the front, you can see these nice planes here on the side. And while we're at it, with the eyes, let's go to the forehead, or the forehead basically, and the eyebrows. We're going to begin that by starting with a little trapezius or triangle here in the middle. We're just going to draw a trapezius right here. That looks like this, like a small cube, you know. There you go. We're going to then smooth it down here so that we can sort of create a nice transition to the nose. I see that my eyes are quite far apart. I'm going to bring them a little bit closer. That's probably better. There you go. Okay. So now that we have the middle of the forehead, I guess, or the eyebrows, let's go to the side. To create the eyebrow, the side of the eyebrow, we're going to just add triangles that look like this. They begin at the edge of the eyes right here, or the eye holes, and then you just go up, and then a little bit downwards again to the trapezius that we just created. We're going to add some more volume to them and then fill out this triangle. There you go. So that we have the eyebrows. And then there's one more thing we need to add. We need to draw a line from here, from the eyebrows, backwards, like this, to finish, I guess, the eyebrow part. We can then smooth this to kind of integrate it into the shape so it doesn't look as if it's like drawn in. There you go, perfect. Smooth it a little bit more. Perfect, so that's the beginning. There's one more thing that is part of the forehead, which is a sphere. The sphere is roughly here in this position. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the clay strip brush again and just kind of draw a sphere that looks something like this. Just very, very lightly. Doesn't have to have a lot of volume. It just kind of looks like this, as if the triangle kind of continues this shape, like this, like a U shape here. There you go. Okay, we're gonna smooth this again, just so we can, you know, integrate everything, make everything look like it's part of one. There you go, and then we already have the forehead. Perfect. What if it's possible to sculpt in Blender using the wood sculpting method? You can probably do that. You have Boolean tools in the sculpt mode, so if you want, you could do that. Okay, so now that we have the eyes, let's continue with the lower part, or we have the upper part of the head. Let's go to the lower part. For me, it seems like the jaw is quite wide. As I said before, the jaws, I think I said it before, the jaws should be thinner than the upper part of the head. It looks like it's wider right now, so we're just gonna push it in like that. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Let's go to the eyes now. Let's kind of finish the eyes when it comes to the skull part, or the bony part. What we want to do is we want to use the clay strips brush again, and we want to go to the sort of lower left quarter of this circle, I guess. We're going to go here, we're going to use the clay strips brush again, and we're going to draw a line that goes from here to the side like this, like a small little line that goes like this. There you go. Once we have this line, we're going to continue this line to the back. So basically go from here to the back like this. And that basically is the cheekbone. We've just added the cheekbone. What you can do here is you can maybe smooth this out like this. There you go. So we've just added the cheekbone. Let's refine it a little bit by just making it rounder. Right now we can see it's very flat. So just make it a little bit rounder here. Add some more volume to the side. There you go. To make it look like a nice little cheekbone. You can also see it in his face right there. That's what we want to add here. And then we're going to continue that all the way to the end. Perfect. Look at that. That's the first part of the skull. The bony bit, let's say. Let's go to the nose and the mouth. So how we're going to add the nose and the mouth? Well, we already have the shape, so let's continue by separating the nose and the mouth first. Reaching 100 messages. Yeah. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't. Kind of weird sometimes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the cheek. We're going to kind of take the cheekbones as a guide, and then sort of draw a line from the cheekbones into the middle like this. Create a V shape like this. This will be the separation of the nose and the mouth. So this will be the nose, and this down here will be the mouth. What we can then do, we can go to the side here, and we can kind of refine the nose just a little bit, maybe even make the crease brush a little bit stronger. And then we're going to go to the side and also create this sort of U shape for the nose. That looks something like this. There you go. It can be pretty rough in the beginning. What we're doing right now is we're just kind of laying out all the pieces that we need. Then afterwards we can refine it a little bit. There you go. So we have the nose right there. Let's go to the mouth. For the mouth, we need to do something different. First of all, you can see the mouth has a little bit of a space between the nose and the mouth. So we need to remove a little bit of this volume here. We're going to use the clay strips brush again. And we're just kind of dig in here a little bit to create like a nice little distance between the nose and the mouth. Right here. We can also use the smooth brush a little bit to just kind of ease it up. There you go. What we then want to do is we want to create like a ball shape that is representing his mouth. What I mean with a ball shape, we're going to use the clay strips brush, and we're just going to draw a sphere or a ball that looks something like this. Perfect. Doesn't have to be too thick. I think that's a pretty good thickness or roundness. There you go. And then we want to do one more, which is down here for the chin. The chin, you can see, doesn't have a lot of structure right now, so let's add a chin structure too. We're going to do a tear shape. So So basically drawing from here, from the bottom of the sphere to the side like this. And then add more volume at the bottom here to create a shape that looks something more like this. Start from the middle here, from the sphere, and then draw to the side like this to create this little the chin. Of course, you can see the chin is quite disconnected right now from the chest, from the rest of the jaw. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line from here, from the top, a little bit more diagonal to kind of create a nice transition from the chin to the rest of the jaw. If it's not looking too good right now, we can also just, you know, use the smooth brush again, holding shift and then tapping on it right here. There you go. And then we already have a chin. So next up, we have the mouth. First thing what we're going to do is we're going to try to imitate what we have here for his mouth, the angry looking mouth, okay? What we're going to do, we're going to use the crease brush again. We're going to make it a little bit smaller, maybe even stronger, maybe like 0.6 or 0.7. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line that starts straight, like this, maybe even a little bit lower. Although, no, I think that's a pretty good position. We're going to draw a horizontal line, and then we're going to draw a line to the end of this ball that we've drawn. So we're going to go from here downwards like this until we reach the end of this ball right here. Perfect. And then we already have the distinction between the lower lip and the upper lip, basically. Okay. The next step that we want to do is we want to create the, I guess, basic shape of the lips. The best way to do that would be to use the smooth brush. How we're going to do that, we're going to hold smooth, or hold shift, of course, to smooth it. And then we're just going to smooth the edge that we just created by using the crease brush. We're just going to smooth this to create the upper lip. We're going to do the same at the bottom lip to create the two different lips. There you go. If you have some problems like I do here, where it doesn't really look like it's, you know, disconnected, there's not really a big crease, we can just go in again and just kind of, I guess, increase the crease strength. There you go. That looks better. And we already have, I guess, the beginning of the lips. If you have the same problem that I do have right now, that the lower lip is further forward than the upper lip, what we can do is we can just use the grab brush and push the chin and the lips a little bit further back. More like this. There you go. You would, the best way to sort of gauge whether or not it's in a good position is if you go from the tip of the nose to the chin. It should create a diagonal line where the lips are sort of on. They don't need to be on, they can also be a little bit further back. But if you draw a line from basically, there you go, from here to here, the lip should be somewhere close to that, basically. Okay. We can also refine the lips a little bit more now. What we're going to do is we're going to draw these edges that we can see here. The way we're going to do that is we're going to go to the top first, and we're going to create the V that we can see here in the middle of this lips. The V is pretty simple. We're just going to hold Control to use the crease brush additively, like this. And if the V doesn't really jump out to us, we can also use it subtractively to kind of deepen the middle part here of the lips. There you go. It will look pretty rough for a while, but we can still create a pretty good face. But you just kind of have to get used to the sort of rough look that we have here. There you go. And then we also want to continue this V all the way to the corner of the mouth, this right here. So we're just going to grab it, or draw a line from here from the lip all the way down to the corner of the mouth, like this. Don't worry about the sort of shape that we have right here. You can see it's very, very highlighted right now. We can still change that later. I'm sort of more focused right now on the overall, I guess, structure and adding everything that we need to continue. Okay, now that we have the upper lip, let's go to the lower lip. Lower lip is quite small too, so we're just gonna start somewhere up here, start in the middle, and then draw close to draw in direction of the corner of the mouth, like this. There you go. And that's the lower lip. There you go. There's one more thing that I want to do here. Underneath the lower lip, especially the middle, you have a pretty sharp decline, I guess you could say. So all I want to do here is with the crease brush again, I just want to remove some of that volume here. like this. Doesn't have to be too much, just something like this. There you go. Okay. Now that we have that, let's actually go to the eyes. I think we have everything except for the eyes and of course the sort of smaller structures of the face. So let's add the eyes now. Let's go to the layout tab again. Back to the layout, and we're going to bring back the sphere that we had in the beginning. What we want to do with the sphere is we want to rotate it first by 90 degrees on the x-axis. So we're going to press R, X, and then 90. And then we have the sort of tip here of the sphere looking at us, basically. What we're going to do then is we're going to apply a modifier, which is the array modifier, which is the one here. The second, on the generate, I guess, row, the first one, array. We're going to set the count to 7. There you go. So we have 7 eyes in a row. And then we're going to press 1 again, so we can go to the front view, the front orthographic view. There you go. Numpad 1 to get there. Or you can use viewpoint and then front. So what we want to do now is we want to determine the eye size. For men, what we can use is roughly 7 eyes next to each other, 7 eyeballs next to each other equal the head width. So we need to make it as small. We're going to scale it down until these eyes barely fit into the head. So something like this. There you go. There we have the spheres. There you go. That's the eye size, basically. The eyeball size. We're going to put it to the right. We're going to remove the array modifier. And then we're going to add a new modifier. The new modifier is going to be called mirror. It's going to be this one down here. It's in the same generate row, but a little bit lower. We're going to use the mirror modifier, and we're going to use a mirror object. The mirror object we're going to use is the head itself. So we're going to click the small little icon here on that bar on the right, and we're going to select the sphere. That's basically the head. We're going to select the head. And then you can see we have 2 eyes. Now what we want to do is we want to place these eyes. So we're actually going to go back into orthographic front view, pressing 1 on the numpad. There you go. And then we're going to place them in these eye holes. Where I want to place them is basically roughly in the middle of them, with 1.5 to 2, 1.25 to 2 eyeballs in between them. The eyeballs should have like 1.5 to 2 of their width in between them. So if you would put 1 more eyeball in the middle and then half or more, or 0.25 or more, that should be a good distance. I'm going to place mine right here. And also the eyeball can be a little bit closer to the eyebrows than the cheekbone. So I'm going to raise mine a little bit too. Maybe to there. That looks pretty good. There you go. Of course, we can see it's not in the head yet, so we need to do a few more adjustments. We're going to move, well, 1 more. We're going to move it on the y-axis into the head. A good position for the eyeball in the head itself is to align the edge, the outer edge, I guess, of the sphere here with the cheekbone. So we're going to move it maybe to, I think that's a pretty good position there. See how the cheekbone ends right there and the eyeball ends right there too. Perfect. Okay. Now we can create the eyes. Let's go select the head again, and we're going to go to the sculpting tab again. Go to sculpting, and now we can add the eyelids. Before we do that, there's one more thing that I want to change for the forehead. You can see the forehead is quite flat right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the grab brush, and looking from the top, roughly from the top, we're just going to push this part of the forehead a little bit further forward so that we can create a nice round edge right here, if you look from the top, basically. We're going to select this and push it a little bit forward, like this. Oh. Make it nice and round. There you go. So it should look something more like this. See how there's like a nice roundness to it? That's what I'm looking for. Perfect. So now we have the eyeballs. Let's add the eyelids. We're going to use the clay strips brush again. And one setting that I have enabled is advanced accumulate. What that does is that it lets you, I guess, add more volume at once. Accumulate basically increases the maximum amount of volume that you can add by just brushing over the same spot over and over and over again. If you don't have that enabled, it might be harder to add more volume quickly. So if you want to enable it, advanced, and then accumulate down here. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to create volume that basically covers these eyeballs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw or add more volume behind the eyeballs with the clay strips brush in a circular motion like this to cover the eyeballs until everything is gone. We have a nice little shell around it, basically. There you go. Okay, so now we have the eyelid, I guess, volume. There's one more thing that I want to do before we can create the eye shape, which is I want to connect this middle ball here to the side of this, to this side here, and then also to the middle right here. Just going to create two connections to both. There you go. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go and create the eyeball shape. How we're going to do that is we're going to use the crease brush again, and we're going to zoom in, and we're going to create like an almond shape. You can also kind of reference his eyes right now. Basically just creating like a upwards curve like this, and then a downwards curve like this. It'll be easier to I guess adjust the eyeball or the eyelid shape later. So right now it can look quite rough. When we add more geometry, we can refine it a little bit easier. So once we've kind of created this hole here, which is supposed to resemble the eye, you know, the eye, we can go ahead and use the crease brush subtractively, so holding control, no, additively holding control to kind of refine the edge of the eyelid a little bit, like this. We can even use the smooth brush to make it nice and even. And that's basically the basic eye shape. There you go. Looks kind of weird right now, but that's all part of the plan, okay? We're gonna get to it later. One thing that I noticed, I think I want to place my eyes a little bit further back. So what we could do is we could go ahead and press Alt and Q on the eyes to select those in sculpt mode, and then we can select the move tool down here to just move them a little bit further back. There you go. We can then switch back to the sculpt and then move everything else a little bit further back too. There you go. Perfect. As you can see, mine is also pretty rough, so it's all part of the process, okay? Okay, so we have the eyes now. You can, if you want, already adjust the eye shape a little bit. You can see he looks kind of more angry, so we can maybe lower this part here and also raise the lower eyelid a little bit to close his eyes a little bit more. But that's not really what we're looking for right now. We don't want to shape everything. We just kind of want to include everything that we need. Do you have experience with ZBrush, and do you have any tips for getting more detailed resolution in Blender apart from the multi-res modifier? You can also use dynamic topology. That's what we're going to use here. So basically, yeah, using dynamic topology and then increasing the, using constant detail and setting the resolution higher should give you more resolution. If you don't care about the topology structure, I guess. If you do, then I guess multi-resolution is your best bet. Okay, now that we have the eyes, let's add some fat, because right now it looks kind of goofy right now in the face. So after adding the fat, it'll look a whole lot better. Let's begin with the eyes. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to fill this space underneath the eyelids that is sort of you know, a hole right now. So we're going to use the clay strips again. I'm just going to fill this space underneath here. There you go. Just going to fill it until we kind of reach the cheekbone. There you go. Perfect. That's all we wanted to do here. Perfect. So that now that we've filled that, let's go to the upper part, to the upper eyelid, And what we want to do here is we want to fill this right side first. So we're going to fill it first, like this. There you go. So that we have like a profile view that looks something more like this. There you go. So it has like a nice slope down there to the eyelid. And then we want to fill this side too, but not as much as we've done for the right side. We want to leave it quite deep. So we're just going to add a little bit to make a nice slope down to this deeper part here in the middle. So it looks something more like this. Okay. The next step is the fat around the mouth. You can actually see it very well on him. You see this big plane here? That's what we want to add now. This big shape right there. So we're going to start with starting right here on the eye. We're going to draw a shape that just goes down like this. Next, it doesn't continue, connect to the nose. It just kind of follows downwards next to the nose. We're not going to connect it to the nose. We're just going to draw it down like this. So it creates a clear line next to the nose, downward to the side of the mouth, to the corner of the mouth, like this. And then we're gonna, you can see we've created this line here by sculpting it. We're gonna make it a little bit wider, so we're gonna draw it a little bit further back, and then we're gonna continue until we kind of reach this point. Here, if you go to the side, it looks something like this. And then we're gonna draw it back up like this. Okay, fill this shape like this. There you go. Okay. My PC still gets slow with dynamic topology enabled. What you can also do is you can enable dynamic topology, set a certain resolution, then use the simplify brush, this one right here, the simplify brush. The simplify brush basically applies the set resolution to wherever you use the brush, and you can basically this way sort of add more geometry to parts where you need more geometry, and then you can deactivate dynamic topology again and then sculpt without it. Dynamic topology can be quite laggy if it has more geometry, but you can also, you know, still use it while not sculpting in it, I guess. If you don't have it enabled, it's not as laggy. Okay, so we have the first fan pad. Let's continue. The next fan pad that we need is right here on the jaw. This part we need to fill up. We can see we have a quite deep spot right here. What we want to do is we want to start here on the edge of the jaw, and we want to draw from here upwards like this, and we want to draw forward like this, and just kind of fill this space. Not fully, but we kind of still want to have like a slight distinction here between the cheekbone and the side of the jaw, but we kind of want to fill this space here on the side. We can also smooth it a little bit, and it should look something like this afterwards. Okay. There are a few more things that I want to add before we can get to the actual shaping process, where we make it look more like him. Okay. He looks kind of weird right now. Looks more like a totem or whatever. Let's go to the lips real quick. For the lips, what I want to do is I want to go down here to the lower lip. We're going to adjust the chin and also the lower lip. What I want to do is I want to go down here to these two pieces here. We have one on the right side and we have one on the left side. These two that we've kind of created by digging a little bit deeper in the middle. I want to go to these and I want to just add a little bit more volume to them so they are a little bit rounder. So add more volume here in the middle to make them a little bit, I guess, rounder. Not too much, just a little bit like this. So that there's a nice transition from lip to down here to these pieces, or to these shapes like this. That's all I really wanted to do here. Okay, there you go. Then we go to the chin and we just kind of do what we've done before. We just kind of create a more, I guess, we kind of highlight the shape of the chin a little bit more. As I said before, we're going to do a tear shape. So we're just going to draw it from here in the middle, downwards like this, and especially highlight the bottom part here. There you go, something more like this. Okay, there's one more fan pad that I want to add down here, which is right next to the lips. Right next to the, I guess, corner of the lip. We're going to go here, next to the corner of the lip, and we're going to add a little tiny, little bit of volume here on the side, just like this. That's all that I wanted to do here. There you go. Doesn't change the look too much. It just kind of adds more volume there on the side. Okay, there you go. So now that we have most of the structure of the face, there's one more thing that I want to add. Is this mean look. To add, I guess, the mean look in his eyebrows, what we need to do is we of course need to go upwards to the eyebrows, and we're gonna create a little bit more volume here in the middle. So just add with the crease brush again, I mean with the clay strips brush, just a little bit more volume here. That looks like two V shapes. The two V shapes, or well, we only have to draw one because we have symmetry on. The V shape should look something more like this. That's what we want to sculpt in here, basically. So we're going to begin down here in the middle where the eyebrows, I guess, connect. And we're going to then draw one line outwards to the corner of this triangle here. And then we're going to draw one more that is further in the middle here. That just kind of goes upwards like this. Very nice volume here. And then we can sort of ease it a little bit by adding slightly more volume here in the middle. And then smoothing everything by holding shift. There you go. So he looks already angry. Now let's adjust the proportions a little bit. So, of course, mine will look probably a little bit different than yours. But I'm not going to fully explain to you, I guess, how you need to change yours. It's more subjective. But I'm going to show you what I'm looking at to change mine. One thing that I see is that his nose is thinner than mine, for example, right now. Mine is quite wide. So what I want to do is I want to use the grab brush for most of these. And I just want to push it a little bit further into the middle, the nose. Make it a little bit thinner right here. There you go, that's probably better. Okay. Another thing that I see is that his lips are a little bit thinner than mine right now. So I'm going to go to the lip, especially the lower lip. I'm going to push it up a little bit to create more of this, more of his sort of lip shape right here. I think I need to do the same for the upper lip too, just a little bit. Push it down. There you go. Okay. Now that we have that, let's go to the overall face shape. I want to make the jaw on the side a little bit thinner too. There you go. Oh, so it looks like this. One good, I guess, indicator to see whether or not your eyes are too close together is if you look at the width of the nose. The inner corner of the eye should roughly start where the, I guess, nostrils end, looking from the front. If you see it right here, for me, if I draw a line upwards like this, you can see that's where my eyes start. So they're in a pretty good position. Does the head look a little bit too wide? Maybe push it in a little bit. Actually, no. I think that's okay. Maybe my head is a little bit too long. If you look at his head, I think he has a little bit flat. His head is a little bit flatter. So I want to change the head shape from the side a little bit. I think one thing that I want to do is I want to highlight his jaw a little bit more. As you can see here, his jaw is quite defined, let's say. So I want to first of all make this jawline quite linear or quite straight. And then also I want to make this jaw a little bit more, I guess, angular like this. There you go. Okay, going back to the head shape. What I want to do for the head shape is I want to just kind of, push the top here that is quite round right now. Just kind of push it down just a little bit. Not too much, just kind of a little bit. There you go. Another thing that I want to do is I want to go here to the top right part of the sphere or the head. I'm just going to push that in too, just a little bit. Not too much. Tiny bit. Okay. The most important part is that the head is the widest at the top here. Above the eyes, basically. Okay, that looks pretty good. Perfect. Of course, there's one more thing that we need to add, and there's one more thing that I want to adjust here. Let's do the adjustments first. The thing that I want to adjust is the nose, because the nose looks kind of weird right now, kind of different to the one that he has. So let's go to that first. As you can see here in the reference, you can see the nose kind of transitions to the eyebrows, and it, you know, is quite high, let's say. Ours is quite deep into the face right now. It has this big crease right here, this big dip. So we need to add an actual bridge right here. Let's add that now. We're going to go here into the middle and just kind of add a bridge that is going straight to the tip of the nose. You might not see it from the front view, but if you go to the side view, you can see it's supposed to look something like this. We can maybe even add a little bit more. Something like this. There you go. Okay. One other thing that I see right now is I think the nose for me is a little bit too long. His nose is quite short. So all I want to do is I want to push basically everything a little bit higher. Except for the eyes. One way you can do that if you want to make big adjustments in your face to adjust it to get it to a similar look, then, or to get it closer to what you want to have it to, is you can use the mask brush and mask everything that is supposed to stay in place. So I select everything that is right here, including the cheekbones. There you go. And now what I can do is you can go use the grab brush again and just kind of push everything up a little bit. Including the nose. That looks pretty good. There you go. That definitely looks better than before. There you go. Okay, we can of course smooth everything a little bit too, but that's not really important right now. Okay, I think that's what I think that with that shape I'm quite happy. So now that we have the face, let's go to the side of the face because we have one more thing that we need to add, which is of course the ears. So let's go to the side and let's look at the side of the face. The jaw should roughly end at the middle of the face when you look from the side. If you go from here, this is the front, this is the back, the middle is somewhere right here. So I think the jaw is in a pretty good position. What I want to do now is I want to use my crease brush to continue this jaw a little bit further into the skull here. Like this. There you go. Maybe remove some of this volume and make it nice and flat so we have some room here to add the ear. There you go, nice and smooth, using the smooth brush. There you go. Now we're going to place the ear. To place the ear, we're going to use the mask brush. Good to go now? Okay, I'll see you, Mr. Unknown. Thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed your stay here. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Let me save the file real quick. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now that we have created this this space here for the ear, I actually think I want to push the jaw a little bit further forward. Ears are the most difficult part. I think ears are quite simple once you have a good shape for them. Okay, we're gonna grab the mask brush. We're gonna go behind the line that we just drew for the jaw, and we're gonna begin where at the bottom of the nose, basically right here, see? And then we're gonna go all the way up to the eyelid, starting a line from the bottom of the nose right here, next to this line, and drawing it all the way up to the eyelid. So we have draw two diagonal or horizontal lines to kind of gauge the sort of line length here. What we're gonna do then is we're gonna create a C shape basically, or half of a heart I like to call it. So if you look at a heart that looks like this, of course, we're going to remove one, so that's the shape that we're going to draw onto this line, which will look something like this. There you go. Maybe that's a little bit too round. Maybe something more like this. There you go. We're going to fill this shape. We already have the ear drawn out. Might be a little bit too high. We can maybe make it a little bit shorter. There you go. So now what I want to do is I want to invert this. So we only have the ear basically that we can change for this shape. What we're going to do then is we're going to change to the snake hook brush again. We're going to go to the back so that we can still see the shape. And we're going to pull out the edge, basically right here, the round edge. We want to pull out the round edge, not the straight edge here in the front, only the round edge. So I'm going to go to the back, use my snake hook brush, and I'm going to pull it out like this. Maybe that much, and we're going to do that on this rounded edge down here too. Pull it out, and we're going to do the same up here. Pull it out again. There you go. Okay, you can see the ear got smaller because we had a certain angle at that we looked at it. So we're going to push this edge that we just created here a little bit out like this too. There you go. And that's basically the ear shape that we're going to use. You can see it's sort of protruding right here. So what I want to do is I want to create a nice transition from this shape now to the rest of the face, which means I want to press Alt-N to remove the mask. And then I'm going to use the smooth brush to smooth this edge here in the front, the straight line basically. There you go. Nice little transition to the rest of the face. One more thing that I want to do, we're not going to add the details here in the ear just yet. We're going to add that later. What I want to do though is I want to change the shape that we can see here in the back. The way we're going to change it is we're going to use the crease brush, and we're going to just remove some of this volume here. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to begin down here at the earlobe, and we're going to draw a parallel line to this outer edge here. I'm going to show you what that means. We're going to begin down here, start the line. If it doesn't draw as well, you can increase the strength a little bit, and then we're going to draw a line that is parallel to this outer edge, and just continue drawing it, drawing it until you reach the top. There you go. Where it transitions to the front basically. There you go. So we have the first line here. And now what we want to do is we kind of want to adjust this volume that we have here on the right side. The crease created two volumes. We have the outer part and we have the inner part. We want to change the inner part. First thing that I want to do is I want to create like a smaller, deeper pocket, you could say, down here. So we're just going to use the crease brush again and just kind of dig in here a little bit like this. There you go. See how we have this deeper part here. And then what I also want to do is we're just gonna use the crease brush again here to just kind of dig in here and get rid of some of this volume here too. Not too much. I still want to keep some of this. I don't want to remove everything. There you go. So it looks something like this. Okay. We can see it's pretty rough, so we can now use the smooth brush again, holding shift to smooth the area around the ear. Or basically this geometry that we just created. There you go. If you tap with the smooth brush enabled, you can apply it very, very gently, I guess you could say, or lightly. If you hold it, it'll be a little bit stronger. There you go. Now we have the ears. You can see they're quite close to the face right now, so I think I want to push them out just a little bit more. I'm going to use my grab brush again and just push them out a little bit. There you go. Okay. In my opinion, my face is a little bit too wide right now. So I think I want to push it a little bit closer using the grab brush again. Pushing it together just a little bit. Okay. You oftentimes just have to kind of check your sculpt and see whether or not everything is in a good position or not. And one more thing that I see is that my jaw right now is quite low. I think I want to raise it a little bit. Here, this edge right there. I'm just going to use the grab brush and just push it up a little bit. A good position for it would be somewhere on lip height. The lips are a good height for the ending of the jaw, I guess you could say. So something like this maybe. They're a little bit lower right now than the lips, but I think that's a good position for me. There you go. Okay. That's basically the face. Of course, the face still doesn't look completely like him. There are a few more adjustments that I want to do, which contain more of these smaller details. So right now it kind of comes to getting the likeness right, which can be a little bit fiddly. If you don't really care too much about that, I guess you can, if you watch that as a video, skip this part. what I'm doing right now here is basically just kind of adjusting the smaller pieces to get it closer to what he looks like. So maybe we can change the lips a little bit, bring them a little bit higher, bring the jaw a little bit higher too. Also, you can make sure that the jaw from the bottom has a nice V shape here. You can see we have a little more volume that I want here on the side, so I'm going to push it in a little bit to make it more of a V shape, like this, nice and clean. That's better. There you go. I also want to lower the eyebrows a little bit. So we're just going to grab the eyebrows and just push them down a little bit. Okay. I'm also lacking a little bit of volume here in the eyebrows, so I'm just going to go ahead and add some more volume here. There you go. Okay. One thing about likenesses is that they will oftentimes look weird before you add the hair. And because we're going to add the hair later, it's probably going to look weird for quite a while, but that shouldn't, I guess, we're not trying to completely 100% recreate him. We're just kind of, creating, like, I guess, fan art, you could say. So, don't stress if it doesn't 100 look. We're not going to stress if it doesn't 100% look like him, I guess. Okay. I think I like what I got here. I want to go to the side view and just kind of see if I want to adjust a few things here and there. One thing that I see is that there's quite a deep crease right here. So what I'm going to do is I want to just add a little bit more volume here. It should be quite close to the nostril. Okay. Now that we have the all the proportions how I want them to be, there's one more thing that I want to do before we refine the face. What we're going to do, oh no, we're not going to refine the face first, we're going to add the neck first. That's what we're going to do next, before we refine the face. There are a few adjustments that I want to do to the nose. I want to make this part here, above the nose tip, a little bit thinner, using the grab brush. Kind of pushing it more into the middle like this. And then I want to go to the nose itself. For the nose itself, I'm going to just create the nose tip. How we're going to create the nose tip is basically just by going here from the middle, from the lower, I guess from the bottom of the nose, the middle here, and going then sort of in a V shape upwards. I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to go from here and draw upwards to this spot here. I'll draw to add just a little bit more volume here to the nose tip. There you go. And then I also want to add a little bit more volume down here by adding a small line down here. Not too much, just a little bit. There you go. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to add the nose holes. They will still look quite rough, but that's okay. We're going to use the crease brush, make it quite strong, maybe like even one could work too. And we're going to go down so we can see the bottom of the nose. And we want to draw two ovals that are sort of tilted downwards. I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to draw, of course, one, the other one will be mirrored to the other side. The oval will look something like this. There you go. So basically two ovals that are sort of tilted downwards to the right, bottom right, like this. There you go. We can then maybe even smooth the edge here. There you go. There are a few more adjustments that I want to do to the nose until we get to the neck. First thing first, use the crease brush again to create the nostril shape, the final nostril shape, or the final nostril shape in this level of detail. We're going to go from the corner here of the nostril upwards like this. and then sort of in kind of this shape. It's sort of like a curve, I guess you could say, like this, going into the middle and then going upwards and then into the direction of the nose tip, basically. There you go, like this. My nose tip is quite flat right now, so I'm just going to add a little bit more volume here to the front, to the top, to make it a little bit rounder. There you go. Okay. I think that's a pretty good beginning. With this amount of resolution, I think that's you can maybe make it a little bit better, but I think that's good enough. We can care about the rest. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to add the neck. To add the neck, of course, we need to add geometry down here. How we're going to do that? Hold on, I need to adjust one more thing. We can see here the jaw needs to be nice and straight. There you go. How we're going to add the neck is we're going to use the mask brush, and we're going to create a sphere down here when you look at the face from the bottom. We're going to create a sphere that looks something like, like this, basically between the ears. We're going to create a sphere like this. Perfect. Like this. Then we're going to go back to the side view. We're going to invert the mask, and we're going to use the snake hook brush again. With the snake hook brush enabled, we're going to draw, or we're going to pull down the unmasked geometry. We're going to just draw it downwards, straight down, like this. There you go. Maybe this length here. And then we're going to draw it backwards too. Draw it down backwards just a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. Like this. There you go. Looks kind of rough right now, so we're going to smooth it a little bit too, using the smooth brush, holding shift basically. There you go. So now we have the neck. Let's go to the rest of the, I guess, bust. Fairly simple how we're going to add it. One thing I like to do, doesn't necessarily change too much, but I like to use the smooth brush to just kind of flatten this part down here. Holding the smooth brush and just kind of applying it can make it nice and flat. There you go. Okay. What we want to do now is we want to go to the front part first, and we want to draw out a we want to pull the edge forward a little bit. So we're just going to go to the front here, and we're going to select it and draw it forward like this in a diagonal line that is a little bit steeper than the chin. Just a little bit. There you go. Not too far, just maybe like that. Okay. The next one that we're going to add is for the neck. So we're going to go to the back of the neck, like this. We're going to go look at it from the back. We're going to select the side of this edge here, the side of the neck. And we're going to draw it, we're going to pull it downwards to the right. We're going to select it and draw it down like this. It doesn't have to be too steep. It can be a little bit, I guess, higher than the other one in the front. There you go. Okay. So we can see we have a tripod for the neck. Let's fill these holes that we have here by just kind of pulling the geometry here forward like this. And we create like a V shape basically. There you go, pull this forward, create this nice V shape here. And we're going to do the same in the back. We can see there's still geometry missing here. What we're going to do here is we're also going to just pull it down like this. And then fill this space here. There you go. So it looks something like this. We have a slight backwards tilt for the neck. And then we have I guess, the neck. The rest of the neck, I guess, here, where it gets wider. Mine is a little bit, I guess, is quite steep right now. So let me adjust it a little bit. I'm going to use the grab brush. I'm just going to select the corner here and pull it up a little bit. So I'm going to use the grab brush quite big and just pull it upwards a little bit, like this. There you go. This is better. It can be significantly higher than the one at the bottom there. There you go. Another thing that I want to do is I want to adjust the neck shape here. How I want to adjust it is I want to just go here. I want to remove the mask now because we don't need it anymore. Alt M to remove it. And then we're going to go to the back here of the neck, right underneath where it connects to the head. And I just want to push it in a little bit. So I'm just going to go here and just kind of push it in just a little bit. There you go. Not too much, just to kind of create this nice S shape here. Right there. Okay. I also notice the distance here from the end of the head to the ear is quite far. So I'm just going to push this forward a little bit too. That's better. Yeah, that's better. That's way better. There you go. Another thing that I want to adjust right now is that you can see here, looking at the head, the widest part is down here, but it should be a little bit higher than the ear. So we're going to push this part here a little bit into the middle. Just a little bit, not too much. Okay, there you go. So it looks something like this. Next step that I want to do is I want to go and connect the, I guess, chin or the jaw to the neck. How we're going to do that is fairly simple. We can see here we have quite a steep fall off, or quite a big edge here, or quite a, I guess, there's some room here that we need to fill. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the clay strips brush, and we're going to go here and just fill it up basically, so that when we go and look from the side, we have a nice straight line from the jaw or from the chin straight to the neck. So we're just going to use the crease brush and kind of fill this up. You can also do the same here on the side for the jaw, kind of make it nice and easy here, ease it up. Quite a good transition from one to the other, something like this. And then if you look from the side, it should look something like this. Like this. We're going to smooth it a little bit, like this, to make it nice and soft. There you go, perfect. So it should look something like this now. There's one more transition that I want to create, which is coming from the back of the neck into the, I guess, back of the head. All we're going to do here is we're just going to add a little bit more volume here in the middle. Like this. And then we're going to smooth it. There you go. Not too much, just a little bit, so it has a nice transition there. Okay. Let's I guess fine-tune the muscles of the neck a little bit, okay? Maybe it sounds a little bit more complicated than it actually is. What I want to do is I want to use the clay strip for all of this. We're going to begin by creating the clavicle. So this muscle that we can see here. See this one right there. Right, I guess, underneath the chin. That goes to the shoulders. How we're going to create it is we're going to go down here. We kind of estimate how far it should be down. I think that's a quite a good distance here. I don't really have a good distance between the neck and the chin. If it looks too long, you can still kind of push it up, okay? So it doesn't, you know, if it doesn't look good right in the beginning, you can still adjust it by using the grab brush. We're just going to draw a V shape down here. Draw a V shape like this. Okay? And then we're going to push this up to the corner that we see here that we've pulled outwards. This corner right there. We're going to draw this V outwards like this, all the way up to there. There you go. Okay. So it looks something like this. What I want to do now is I want to pull this tip right there a little bit further forward and also adjust the shape that we can see here for this V shape, if you look from the top. So what I want to do is I want to use the grab brush, make it bigger, and pull this tip right here a little bit further forward. Just kind of like this. There you go. Not too far, just a little bit, so that it's roughly on ear height. There you go. What I want to do too is I want to make the V, which is right now kind of going straight to the tip. I want to create a rounder shape. What I mean by this, I just want to push the this line that we've created just a little bit further forward. The clavicle, basically. Just kind of push it a little bit further forward so it's nice and round, which basically creates the chest. And of course, as you know, the chest is quite round. So by making the front a little bit rounder, we can kind of create the chest right there. Okay. There are a few things that I want to do down here. The easiest part, we're not going to add the shoulders, so don't worry about the shoulders. But I want to add the chest just a little bit. Chest is fairly easy. All we're going to do is we're going to basically go and create lines. The first ones start here and go to the side. And the next ones, right here in the middle of the chest basically. And the other ones connect to the clavicle here, the bone that we've just drawn. And go down to here basically, a little bit lower than the tip that we created. So we draw from here to the side. And the further we go to the right, the lower they get. There you go, something like this. So that we can create a nice little chest here. It'll look something like this. This part is quite, it's not that big and it's quite hard to kind of detail it out too much. So don't worry if it doesn't look too great. If you don't want, you can still, I guess, remove it at the end anyway. I want to adjust the tip. I just want to push it down just a little bit to kind of bring it into the general shape here. There you go. So it should look something like this in the end. If you want, you can kind of smooth it so it looks more smooth, you know, more like skin rather than some sort of sculpt, I guess. There you go. And then we can go back to the neck muscles. For the neck muscles, let's begin with the biggest one, the one in the back, the trapezius. We're going to basically just go here to the side. We're going to go to, let's go to, if you go from this view, if we, I guess, make a line from the V here to the tip that we have here, roughly to 1/3 of this, go to 1/3 of it, or I guess, hold on, I'm going to show you what I mean. So if this is a line, we're going to divide it in 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to go to the right 3rd line, I guess. This one right here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to grab the clay strip brush. We're going to start sort of drawing a line that goes diagonally behind the neck, like this, and then up to the head, like this. So we have a line that looks like this. There you go. What I want to do now is I want to make this here, the outer part or the right part of the behind part, let's say, a little bit rounder, give it more volume. So all we're going to do here is we're just going to use the clay strip brush and add more volume right here. Make it nice and round. So if you look from the front, it should look something more like this. And then we can also go to the back, and the back has a very distinct, I guess, look to it. I'm going to show you how it looks. The first thing that we need to do is we're going to use the clay strip brush, make it a little bit thinner, and we want to sculpt the spine, basically. The way we're going to do it is we're going to hold control so we can remove volume, and we're just going to draw a line downwards like this. There you go. Okay, perfect. That's for the spine. Now what I want to do is I want to draw lines also to the, I guess, tip right here again. So the same that we've done here. Actually, no, we haven't done it here, but what I mean is we're going to draw on this line lines outwards again to the tip right here. So we're going to draw this one, for example, basically just horizontal. This one goes upwards a little bit. This one is right in between. And this way we can add more volume right here. And the more we go over to this structure here, the more it kind of raises, so that we have a sort of transition going from here to here to here to here. That's sort of the structure that I want to add here. And that is basically just to kind of add more volume to the neck muscle. There you go. That looks pretty good. There you go. So it should look something like this in the end. There you go. We're not going to care about the exact anatomically correct form. We just kind of look at the basic big shapes, I guess, of the muscles more. There you go. So it looks something like this. Okay, there are two more things that I want to do to finish the neck. The first thing that I want to do is I want to create the muscle that goes from the ear to this little V that we created here, the clavicle, the little V. So all we need to do is we need to go here to the ear, go underneath it, and we're going to draw a line from here with the clay strips brush. Thank you for the stream. Okay, I'll see you memers haven. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining. We're going to draw a line here from underneath the ear all the way down to this V basically here in the middle. Or we can also start from the V, it's your choice. I'm going to start from the ear, go down like this, and to the V like this. There you go. Doesn't need to have too much volume. I just want to draw this line here. There you go. You can also, you know, kind of, I guess, add more volume first and then use the smooth brush to kind of ease it or kind of remove some volume again. All I want to do is add that muscle there, right there. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to go right here in between these two muscles and just kind of remove a little bit of volume here. Not too much, just a little bit like this. There you go. That's enough. Okay. Okay, the rest, the only thing that I want to do now is I want to go to the front of the neck, and I want to add just a little bit of a bump here in the front. Just like this, in like a, I guess, V shape too. So it looks something like this, and then I want to smooth it here too. There you go. That's what I want to add here. There you go. Okay. If you encountered this problem here that I have here too, which is what that problem basically is, the stretching, is if you work on the surface here and you don't have a certain setting enabled, it basically also includes the geometry on the opposite side of the mesh. And because the brush is too big, or the brush is this big, it also affects the other side. You can go into the advanced settings and enable front faces only, so that that doesn't happen. To fix it, you can just fill it up again with front faces only enabled, and that should fix it. There you go. Do the same here. And then if it still looks a little bit rough, we can use the smooth brush again to get rid of all the residue. There you go. In the front, we have some problems here too. There you go. Perfect. Okay. That looks pretty good. I think the neck muscles right now, as I said before, are a little bit too highlighted, so I'm gonna use the smooth brush again to just kind of smooth them down again. I want to make them a little bit flatter. There you go. They don't need to be like ultra refined or defined. More like this. There you go. Okay. Perfect. Now all I want to do is I want to kind of go here, through the rest of the neck and just kind of smooth this part here where it connects to the head to make it nice and to make it a nice smooth transition. If you don't like the geometry up here, as I do, I like to just tap over it with my smooth brush to get it nice and, yeah, smooth. There you go. And that basically includes everything that we need to do here for the first part. This actually got a little bit longer, I guess, than I expected. Now we're at, I think, 1 hour, 50 minutes roughly. Let's go to the second part. Or before we go to the second part, let's actually go and add the hair first. I think the hair, we can add the hair now. To add the hair, we need to do one thing, which is we need to create a new geometry. We actually don't need to create a completely new geometry. We can duplicate the sculpt, and then we can use the sculpt for the hair too. The way we're going to do it is we're going to go back to the layout, and we're going to press Shift D to duplicate it. Then we're going to, I guess if you want to, you can rename it to know which one's which. But yeah, let's do that here. There you go. Now I'm going to go back into the sculpt mode with the hair geometry selected. I'm going to go to the side view, and before I do anything, I go to the viewport settings here, and I change the color here in the viewport shading setting. Change the color from material to random. This way we can distinguish the two. You can see they're exactly on top of each other, so we can only see one color. But we're going to change that right now. So this step might be a little bit intense for your PC. So if this leads your PC to crash, you can try another method that I'm going to tell you after I did it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here to the trim. This is the box trim brush. We're going to use the lasso trim, and we're going to remove everything that includes basically, well, we can remove everything that includes the nose. We can include, yeah, everything that is underneath the nose and the ear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle. Before we can do that though, we need to deactivate dynamic topology. So deactivate dynamic topology, otherwise it doesn't work. Then use lasso trim and draw a line. We draw a circle around everything that should be removed. So everything right here. Remove that. It takes a while, you know. That's what I mean with can destroy your PC. And then we have something like this. You can see it looks kind of like Captain America. This basically now includes everything that we need to keep to create a hairstyle. So we can still add the eyebrows here, we can still add the hair. You can still see that the geometry is right on top of each other. So there's one more thing that I want to do to get rid of the yellow part, I guess you could say. We want to push the hair geometry inside of the, I guess, head geometry. So we're going to do that by using the mesh filter brush. And we're going to have it on inflate. And we're going to left click and then draw it to the left. Like this. And then we can see it's inside of the face. So we don't see it anymore. Perfect. So it's right underneath it. We don't see it, but we can use it for the hair. So if the lasso trim or the trim brushes don't work, you can also use the Boolean modifier. So you select the hair mesh. You grab a cube, for example, make it nice and big so it can fill the whole head. And then you just go down, exclude everything that isn't the top part, and then just apply that as a Boolean and remove everything down here. That can work too, if the trim brush doesn't work. Okay. So now that we have two meshes, we have one for the hair and one for the head. We have the hair. We sculpt on the hair mesh. What I want to do now is I want to go here, and I want to use the clay strips brush to lay out the general shape of the hair. Let's do that first. So now, if you apply the brush again, you can see we bring back this yellow mesh, and we want to create the hair shape now. We're going to create a basic one first before we create the actual hairstyle. So all I want to do now is kind of fill the bald head with geometry, or cover it with this yellow geometry. For me it's yellow, for you it might be a different color. You can see this is sort of the shape that I go for in the back. It looks something like this. Okay, and the sort of reverse V shape here, going down and then upwards again to the ear. For the front, I can start, I guess, at the forehead. You can kind of gauge for yourself how high up you want to have the forehead. Maybe something like this should look pretty good. Okay, draw a horizontal line right there. Then we're going to go to the side of the ear, in front of the ear. We're going to draw a line right here, so that we have the beginning here, or the side part of the ear, the hair. And then we're going to go around the ear right here, like this. And we're going to go connect these two pieces now. We're going to connect them by making this a V shape again, which goes backwards. So something like this. Then we're going to go to the side here, go up to it in this sort of diagonal line. And then there's one more thing we need to add. which is right here. I want to add like a small, I guess, cube, or I want to fill this a little bit more with a little bit of more geometry, I guess. The way we're going to do this, we're going to look at the side of the eye here. We're going to draw a parallel line to it. Looks something like this, parallel to this line here, and then a little bit higher, I guess, like this. Not all the way up to the middle or to this line, just like this, maybe just a little bit further into the front. And then once we reach this point, we draw it upwards and we fill it. So this is basically the hairline. If it doesn't look great right now or then, we can still adjust it. There you go. You can also see, because we got rid of we went out of sculpt mode, it deactivated dynamic topology. So we need to reactivate it again. So tick it again, and there you go. Okay, now we have the head. We have the basic head covered. Let's create the hairstyle. The hairstyle is fairly simple. What I want to do first is I want to create the volume, and then we can create these individual hair strands. We're going to add the band later. So first, what I want to do is I want to create the volume first. We can actually kind of keep the headband in mind though. So what I want to do is I want to use the mask brush. I'm just going to draw out where the band will be. Like this. That should be good enough. There's no hair in the front, so we don't need to worry. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I think this volume is already good enough. We don't need to add more volume here. But where I want to add more is at the top. At the top, what I want to do is I'm just going to add more volume here. There you go. We can already kind of establish a hair flow by drawing these lines with the clay strips brush. As you can see, we can already create like a hair structure. Oftentimes you have like a small twirl here where the hair flow originates from. So keeping like drawing these lines out from a certain spot here in the back of the head can create a nice hair flow. Like a little star here in the back, like this. I don't want it to add too much volume, just a little bit. There you go. Okay. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now, one more thing that we want to add are the eyebrows. The eyebrows we haven't added yet, so let's add them too. We can either do that with the clay strips brush or with the crease brush. Crease brush is a little bit more exact. I think we can begin with the clay strips brush though. Add the eyebrows here, starting from the middle, and then going upwards. The eyebrows, his eyebrows are a little bit, I guess, let's say unique. In that they sort of, I guess, protrude from his face a little bit. Or they just go up. Let's just make them go up like this. So we're going to end them right there. Like this. So we're going to begin here, and we're going to follow this edge that we've created for the eyebrow until we end the end, and we go past the triangle until we end it somewhere over here. There you go. And we already have the block out basically done now. So now what we can do is we can refine the face. Before we begin, let me sit down again. Welcome, Hustler. Hope you enjoyed your day. Hope you had a great day. Okay. So now we can get to refining the face. So what I want to do now is I want to go to layout again. Or what we can also do is we can hover over the face and press Alt Q. This way we can switch to the face. Now what I want to do is I want to go to the dynamic topology settings and change the resolution from 20 to 50. There you go. Now what we can do, if your PC is good, we want to basically apply more geometry to the head. What you can do is you can just press detail flood fill. This basically adds the 50 resolution to everything. But what I would rather use is the simplify brush here, this one. If we select it, we can now just make the brush very, very big and basically draw over all of the geometry, or over, we're gonna draw over the entire face. This will add more geometry to the entire face, like this, maybe even the ear too. I'm gonna show you what it does. If I go to Shift Z, you can see the X-ray or the wireframe view. If you press Alt Z, you can see we remove the X-ray mode, and this way you can see that's how it adds more geometry. So we want to add more geometry to the important parts of the face, which basically means the ear and the face. We're not going to care about the neck too much. Now we're going to go back to here. Everything is covered. And now we're going to add more resolution. The easiest way to immediately see the refined face is by going to the smooth brush. We need to adjust the smooth brush a little bit. We're going to go to the deformation and change it from laplation to the surface setting, surface mode. The values that we're going to use here is 0.75, 0, and iteration 5. Now with the smooth brush, I guess with this new smooth brush, we're just going to apply it basically. We're just going to swipe, or we're going to wipe over the entire sculpt basically, or over his face, so you can see what it does. There you go. If it gets quite laggy, maybe you should be a little bit slower with it. So this immediately smooths the face. This might already be pretty good for you. Maybe you don't want to do more, you know? But we're going to do a little bit more to refine the face. Okay. Now it is time, as I said, to refine the face. Actually, before we do the face, let's go to the ear. I think we can quickly finish the ear. Okay, so regarding the ear has two big shapes that is basically made out of. It has a big C and a big Y, or a smaller Y. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin with a hole first, and then we're going to create the C shape. No, hold on. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Yeah, we're going to begin with the C. Oh. So the C basically just goes around from here, around the edge, into the middle. So it looks something like this. And then it goes into the middle of the ear, like this. There's a small hook to it. So we're going to use the crease brush and just follow the edge right. Oh, that's quite a strong crease brush. I'm going to decrease it, maybe to 0.3. I'm going to create this C shape right here, like this. And then I'm going to go into the middle of the ear, like this. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the crease brush subtractively. So I'm going to dig into the sculpt and just create a volume, or I'm going to remove the volume around here, where it basically, you know, connects to the middle of the ear, let's say, this sort of hook right there. Oh, one more thing that we need to do is we need to bring back the smooth brush to the original form. So we select the smooth brush and switch it from surface to laplation. And then we can get back to the crease brush. You can see here, we can see that the hair shape is kind of interfering with our endeavors. So we can hide the hair model for now. So we can work on the hair, the ear. So it looks something like, oh, like this now. Now what I want to do is I want to continue this here and create a hole down here. Just kind of dig in here, create something like this. Nice little circular hole like this. There you go. The next step that I want to do is I want to smooth this part here that sort of transitions into the middle. Just kind of smooth it a little bit so that it's a smoother transition, let's say. Like this. And then I want to add this small little, I guess, small little bump that we all have here at the ear. There's like a small bump right here. You can kind of see it here. That's what I want to add. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the crease brush, hold Control, to kind of just pull out geometry like this. In a circular motion, there you go. Something like this, there you go. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is I want to go and continue this crease here all the way around the C, basically. I want to, I guess, enforce the C shape. So I'm going to continue this crease all the way around to sort of enforce the C shape, like this. Make it nice and visible. Perfect. Okay. And then there's one more thing that we need to do. We have this sort of, I guess, ball here in the middle, this area, and we want to split it up into two pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically just remove this sort of V shape from it, so that this is left. So this is the Y shape, and this is the C shape, basically. We're going to use the crease brush and just kind of dig in here to do something like this. There you go. Okay, there's one more thing that I want to do, is I want to get rid of a little bit more volume here. And then I want to adjust the shape of it a little bit more here in the middle. Make it nice and round. Okay. My head or my ears are quite like elf ears. They should be a little bit rounder, so I'm going to move this edge up here a little bit lower. Make it nice and round. Smooth brush and grab brush to do the trick. There you go. Okay. I'm not going to go into too much detail with the ears right now. My Rio's cuter. Okay. Now we can go to the face. So what I want to do now for the face is I want to use the crease brush to add some more definition to everything. Let's begin with the nose. So what I want to do first with the nose is I want to, for mine at least, I want to push the tip a little bit lower. And maybe here. Yeah, let's begin with the bottom of the nose. So for the bottom of the nose, we can make this part here quite sharp. So we're just going to add, I'm going to go into here with the crease brush, make it nice and sharp like this. Then what I want to do is I want to use the crease brush again from the middle and draw a line to the sort of end here of the nostril that looks something like this. There you go. Not too strong, and then we can smooth it a little bit too with the smooth brush. Perfect. Okay. Let's go to the nostril itself. For the nostril, what I want to do is I want to kind of just refine the fold that we have here. So we're just going to draw a line and following the structure that we already have, like this. Okay. Perfect. Now what we can see here, there's, at least for me, a little bit more volume that I want to have here. So I'm just going to use the smooth brush, kind of push that down a little bit, make it nice and smooth here. There you go, perfect. Okay, so we already have refined the nose quite a lot. Let's go to the nose hold and refine it a little bit more. We're going to create these ovals again that are sort of following the nose shape itself. We're going to go to add these ovals here again that get closer as they go into the middle of the nose. Something like this. And then there's one more thing that I want to adjust, which is the, I guess, nose shape from the bottom. It should be a little bit more pointy at the top. So I want to push the side here a little bit into the middle. Something more like this. There you go. So it has this nice heart shape again. So many hearts in the face. Like this. Oh. Please. Like this. Okay. There you go. Okay. I think I'm going to go to the lips next. I think the lips need some more work. What I want to do is I want to, first of all, smooth the... I guess I want to... Right now, the lips look very sharp, the edges of the lips. So what I want to do first is I want to kind of just go over the edge and just kind of use the smooth brush very gently. And just kind of make everything nice and smooth. Kind of ease the strength of the edge. Like this. There you go. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add more volume to the lips themselves. We're going to do that by following the general rule, or, well, by creating 5 volumes, basically. The 5 volumes, there are 3 at the top and 2 at the bottom. The first one is here in the middle. Just add some more volume right here. There you go. The next 2 are here on the side. So we're just going to add some more volume here on this side. Like this. Make it nice and round. So if you look from the side, it should look something like this. This might be too round. So I'm going to remove a little bit more here in the front again. It should look something like this at the end. What I notice right now is that the lower lip is quite far forward, but I think I kind of like that actually. I want to keep it. Usually I like to have the lower lip being further back than the front lip or the upper lip, but I think for this one it works. Okay, so now that we've added a little bit more volume here to the upper lip, we want to refine the, I guess the lip just a little bit again by using the crease brush again, just very, very gently adding a slight edge back to it. But mainly only here in the middle. The side can be rather smooth. Like this. Okay. Let's go to the lower lip. For the lower lip, we have 2 pieces that we need to add, or 2 volumes, which are basically right here. One here and then one here. So we're going to just add some more volume right here. Of course, the other side gets created automatically. Okay, perfect. And then if there's quite a big crease here in the middle, we can also add a little bit more volume here. Just a little bit, not as much as on the sides here, but a little bit is always good. There you go. Okay, so the lips have been refined a little bit more at least. There's one more thing that I want to do to finish the lips. I want to go to the corner and I want to draw a line. I don't want to use the crease brush additively, you holding control, but I want to just use it how it is. I want to draw a line from the corner upwards like this to kind of end the shape of the lip like this. See how it kind of separated this sort of bump here from the lips? That's what I wanted to do. Then we can kind of smooth it again. There you go, perfect. There's one more thing that I want to do that I guess is in this area here. I want to go to the nostril and I want to draw a line from here to the corner of the mouth. The line will look something like this. There you go. Not completely, not connected to the corner, but a little bit further away from it. Like this. There you go. So from the front, it should look something like this. We're gonna use the smooth brush again, tap it to make it a little bit, I guess, smoother, you know? But we still want to keep the crease right here. There you go. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. The chin right now for me looks a little bit, I guess, looks very disconnected from the rest of the, I guess, jaw right now. You can see here there's quite a big steep decline. So I'm just gonna go down here again and just kind of connect it again by adding a little bit more volume here and then smoothing it. There you go. Perfect. Good time to save. There you go. Welcome, Yilma. Hope you enjoyed your Tuesday. Welcome, welcome. As you can see, that's what we've done today. A follow along instruction. No, what is it? Instructive tutorial. We're refining the scope right now. But if you want to follow the whole process, of course, you can start from the beginning. Okay. The only thing that I really want to fine tune now is the eyes and the eyebrows. We're going to use the crease brush and we're going to go to the middle here first. As you can see, his eyebrows, there's like a small middle piece in between. So let's create that first. We're going to go here and just crease it like this while keeping the middle part intact. Like this. Perfect. Love your work. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love you. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Okay, that's the first line that we want to do. And then I just want to go here to the eyebrows themselves and sort of reinforce this V shape that we've drawn before by just adding a little bit more volume here. Like this. And then draw upwards and draw to the side. Perfect. Then we're gonna smooth it just slightly, tapping it to kind of ease it into the rest of the sculpt. There you go. That's sexual harassment. You're gonna get cancelled. Well, I guess if that's the case, then I will not take it back, okay? Okay, the eyebrows are refined, at least good enough. Let's go to the eyes now. So for the eyes, let's first of all make sure that the eyelids have the same thickness all around the eye. Right now we can see it's quite thin here, it's quite thin here, it's quite thick here. Let's make sure that it's nice and smooth, or nice and even everywhere. We're just going to use the crease brush and the smooth brush to get that done. They're just jealous? Yeah. Especially Hustler, he's very jealous. Okay. There you go. Okay, so that should be good enough. If you want to adjust the eye shape now is the perfect time to do so. I think that's pretty good. The lower eyelid can be a little bit straighter, I guess, than the upper eyelid. The upper eyelid can be quite round. There you go. Okay. And then one more thing that we haven't added yet is the tear duct. The tear duct is fairly simple to add. I'm just going to go here to the corner of the eye and I'm going to create like a U shape that looks like this. There you go. And then we have the tear duct. Perfect. Okay. There are a few more things that I want to do to refine the eyes. I want to sort of refine this fat around the eye a little bit. Before I do that though, I see right now I at least have like quite a harsh edge here. So I'm going to use the smooth brush to kind of ease it a little bit. There you go. Okay, not too much, just a little bit. Looked a little bit too sharp to me. Okay. Then what I want to do is I want to go to the bottom here and just kind of bring back a little bit of this structure or this volume. So we have a nice transition from the eye to the cheekbone right here. Okay, maybe the cheekbones are a little bit too wide for me right now. I'm going to push them in a little bit. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. There's one more thing that I want to do. I want to go here to the side. Actually, the cheekbone is a little bit too far forward too. I'm going to push it back just a little bit like this. Okay. We can see we've added this line here, but I want to add a little bit more volume to this piece here, to this fat pad on the right side. I'm just going to add some more volume here and bring it all the way to the inner corner here of the eye. Right here. Just connected to the nose, basically, like this. Perfect. Once we have that, we can smooth it again, make it nice and smooth. Okay, maybe not that high, can be a little bit lower. Roughly it can end at the tear duct, something more like this. Okay, it's quite defined right now. I kind of want to smooth it a little bit more. There you go, just use the smooth brush again to smooth it. Okay, we can see here this band pad is okay, but I want to kind of fill this spot a little bit more. We can see the cheekbone is quite, I guess, defined right now. I kind of want to ease it a little bit more into the face, kind of get rid of this sharp edge. And I'm going to add some more geometry here. Just use the crease, the clay sculpt brush to kind of fill this area up. Then use the smooth brush to make it nice and smooth. That's better. That's way better. One more thing, I want to refine the jaw muscle. So I'm going to just add a little bit more volume to this part here. To this part. Just add a little bit more. Not too much, just very, very lightly. And then smooth it again. There you go. Perfect. Okay. That's, I think, all that I'm going to do for the face itself. Let's go to the hair now. This will basically be the final touch. We need to do the hair still. For the hair, I'm not going to go through the entire process of creating the, I guess, refined hair. So the high-res hair. We're going to go through the process with you know, what is it? With 20 resolution. So we need to, first of all, Alt-Q, switch to this sculpt. And then we need to go to the resolution again and switch to 20. Okay, because we've adjusted the face a little bit, we can see here the eyebrows are a little bit too, I guess, low. So we need to push them out using the grab brush, for example, to show them again. And then, of course, here we can see the cheekbone is a little bit too wide. Get rid of that. There you go. We can get rid of the ear later. Right now, I want to focus on the hair itself. Okay. So one thing you could do is you could duplicate this mesh again. Let's do that right now. We're going to duplicate this mesh again. And then we're going to go back to the sculpt mode. We will now basically use the mesh filter again to push it underneath the hair. This pink one here, and push it underneath the hair. Before we do that, we need to remove the mask though. So Alt-M. We're going to push it underneath the hair by clicking and then left click. There you go. If we have these problems here where it's kind of penetrating the surface, we can just use a clay strips brush, for example, and then smooth it to get rid of these small, I guess, problems. And then what we can do is we can use this layer or this new duplicate to create the band around the hair. So we're just going to sculpt the band right here. For this bandana. Go all the way around the face. So this will basically be the guide for the hair, where the hair can, I guess, this can be helpful when we want to create the sort of hairstyle, because we know where it's not allowed to be. We can use the smooth brush again to make it nice and smooth. There you go. Now we have the bandana, or the band, whatever it is. We can now go back to the hair. So Alt Q to switch to the hair, and now we can create the actual hairstyle. The volume we already have, but now it comes to the actual hairstyle. To create the hairstyle, I like to use the crease brush. We're going to use the crease brush for this, and we're going to make it quite strong. And now we're going to draw individual strands, like basically. So we're going to hold Control and just kind of draw individual strands with quite a small brush, like this. Do that throughout the entire hair, of course. There you go. It's not gonna go over the band just yet. We're gonna do that in just a second. You can see it's still symmetrical. If you want to create I guess, you know, hair is usually not symmetrical. So if you want to, I guess, fix it in the end, you can remove symmetry and then do some more individual strands, you know, without symmetry. We're going to do the same here on the side. Add some individual strands here too. There you go. And now what we want to do is we want to create, so the silhouette right now of the hair looks very, I guess, smooth and very round. Now we want to go ahead and create actual individual hair strands that actually also go over the hair band, I guess. What we're going to use for that is the snake hook brush again. Oh, we're back at the beginning with the snake hook brush. And what we're going to do with the snake hook brush, we can actually now remove symmetry if you want. So go down here, remove symmetry. And then we're going to use the snake hook brush. We're actually going to change the fall off from smooth to linear. And then if we just kind of make the cursor quite small, we can pull out individual strands like this. And these we're going to use to create, yeah, individual hair strands basically. We're going to do that here around the band first. And then we're going to go over the rest of the hairstyle. We're just going to pull them in different directions to create these individual hair strands. So this might not be, you know, this way of creating hair will probably be, I guess, harder to retopologize. This might not be, you know, I don't advise to maybe using this for the hair as the final hair for your character, you know. Of course, this is very useful if you, for example, want to use particle hair. Then this works quite well because you can create like a base layout that you can then use to lay out your hair particles. But, you know, this can be quite hard to at least manually retopologize. So now I've kind of covered the top half here. Maybe we can add a little bit more. Okay. What I want to do now is I want to go into the middle here. We covered the sort of side part. Now I want to cover the top too. I'm just going to drag out some more of these to create a nice hair-like silhouette basically. Do different arcs, either inwards or outwards like this. That's outwards. That's inwards to create a different sort of structure here. Just going to pull out more and more of these hair strands. And then, once we've kind of covered the entire head, we have the first, I guess, we're almost done with the, I guess, the rough sculpt. The next part would be to go ahead and go to 50 resolution again and then refine it. But that's not what we're going to do here. We're going to keep it at 20 for this sculpt, you know. But if you want to, you can refine it again, basically just how you did it, how we did it for the face, using the crease brush again, and maybe even the smooth brush to kind of, you know, add some more definition to the hair. There you go, drag it in all directions. Perfect. And there you go. So we have the hair up top. Thank you for the stream. Thank you for joining. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Okay. We're going to do the same here on the side. Just kind of adding some smaller strands here too. Back in the back too. Just to kind of create a more rough, I guess, hair structure. You know, kind of red. They looked very, very, I guess, as one shape, let's say. The hair. It didn't really look like individual hair. So by pulling them out, we can kind of create individual hair particles or hair strands to make it look a little bit more, you know, like hair, because it's not just one shape, I guess you could say. One wavy shape. It actually is made out of individual pieces or individual strands. Okay. Let's go to the eyebrows too and do the same here. Just pull them forward. There you go, that looks pretty good. Okay. Okay. So now all I want to do now is I want to use the crease brush again and just kind of reinforce these strands that we just pulled out by creasing them and kind of separating them from each other like this. Yeah, we can kind of separate them. We can either do it with the without or with control. There you go. And if we do that, you know, throughout the head, we can get quite a good looking hairstyle going. Of course, this is still a rough cut, let's say. You know, we could refine it, but I wanted to focus more on the face for this. So we don't want to, you know, the hair is not the focus. And of course, if you still want to add more detail to the face, you can still do that. You can add more resolution, like 100, for example. That would be the next step to add even more resolution, even more detail. But we're going to stop at 50. I think 50 is a good spot to end when you don't want to have like super ultra realistic characters, which this, you know, isn't necessarily. We can still hear we have the ear still. We can get rid of the ear, for example, by just smoothing it. So if we smooth this, we can kind of get rid of it. We can, for example, hide everything else except for the yellow mesh. And then we can, for example, just use the smooth brush to get rid of it. That's one way. We could also use a Boolean modifier and then just kind of shape a model around the ear to kind of remove it. I think the smooth brush is the easiest way to do it. There you go. Oh, of course we have symmetry disabled, which is kind of my bad, I guess. Okay, so that's the ear in the yellow mesh. We have the same in the pink mesh for the bandana. Oh. There you go. Perfect. And if we bring everything back, we have the face. It's not 100% done. There's one more thing I want to do. If we go back to the layout, we can adjust the eyes. I want to make these eyes actually look like eyes. So the way we do that is if you select the eyes in layout mode, and then you press numpad / I guess. I don't know how you can do that otherwise. I think it's something like focus, align view. No, I don't actually know how you do that. Object. You can somehow focus on an object like this, or what we can also do is we can just kind of move it out of the face. And then I want to go into the sphere, press edit mode. And what I want to do is I want to go to look at the individual rings that we have here. I want to go to the second full ring. We have the inner circle, we have the first ring, and then we have the second ring. I want to add a cut to the second ring. Then I want to select the small ring, the bigger ring in the middle, and then the circle in the middle. I want to extrude it inwards, just slightly, just a little bit like this. I want to scale it on the y-axis, so SY 0, so that it's straight. You can see it kind of it's back forward in front of the rest of the geometry, so I want to push it back into the eye, like this. There you go. Now what I want to do is I want to remove the small edge here. X, dissolve edge. Select the circle here in the middle. In face select the circle. Move it back. Like this. Now what I want to do, I want to extrude it backwards. Quite far, like maybe more than the middle. Right there. And I want to scale it. There you go. Now if I go back into object mode, I can apply a subdivision modifier. And we need to crease some edges. The two edges that I want to crease is this one here in the middle, for the eye hole. So Shift E to crease it. And then the other one is the one here, right there, this one. It's not the outer one, it's the one behind that. If you press Shift E on that, you can see that's what it looks like. And now we can make it nice and smooth. There you go. And we can put it into the eye again. Into the eye, I guess, hole. There you go. Place it in there. And we can see it's sort of covered by Sculpt. So we need to remove some of the Sculpt to finish the eye. We need to go back into the Sculpt and remove some of that geometry. Oh, we reduced the resolution, so we need to bring it back to 50 and just kind of get rid of this geometry here. We can see there's more. We can care about that later. I just want to make sure that the first sculpt is good. There you go. So that's the first part of the sculpt, the actual face. Hollowed out. Go to the other one, maybe the pink one. Alt Q to switch. Get rid of this. Okay, and then the yellow one too. There you go. And go in here. Perfect. If there's any geometry kind of getting through the surface, you can still get rid of it, of course. Oh, the other side too. Perfect. Okay. That basically concludes Ryu. There you go. You can of course do some more adjustments if you want. Oh, there's one more thing we could do, is we could create a little crease here for the eyelid. Just create this little crease right there. As you can see, we need to go back to the other mesh again. Get rid of this. There you go, perfect. Yeah, we could do some more adjustments here and there if you want to, you know, like over here. Well, that's more personal, I guess, I guess, you know, decision. I think we're gonna finish the sculpt right here. That is Ryu. So this is the first full character in this series. I explained everything, I guess, in depth quite a lot. You know, this is for more people that, you know, kind of already sculpted a little bit, so they kind of know where the tools are and all that. I'm kind of thinking maybe next time I'll do it a little bit quicker. I think that could be, you know, could be a good thing. But yeah, here's the end result. There you go. Yeah, you know, if you actually followed this, maybe even right now on stream, maybe afterwards as a video, you can always, if you want, either, you know, join the Discord and put an image of your finished sculpt, you know, in the Discord, for example, or you can also, I don't know, add me on Twitter or send them on Instagram or whatever if you want, you know, so I can see them. And you know, if there's any feedback, I'm always open. Of course, I'll throughout doing more of these, you know, it's probably gonna get I guess hopefully better and better and better. This is the first one. I already have a few things that I want to do differently, but yeah, here's the final head. There you go. What does it look like in rendered view? Let's see. There you go. Yeah, I said 30 minutes for the first sketch. I guess, yeah, with a little bit, I guess with a more you could say with a faster narration, you could say, I think we can get there. I always kind of debated whether I wanted to make it a little bit more, you could say, I wanted to make it, I guess, accessible live, or whether I wanted to focus more on the speed when it comes to when you can actually like pause and kind of rewind. I think what I want to focus on next time is I wanted to focus more on the ability to rewind. So I'm probably going to do it a little bit faster next time. But next time was going to be a female character. So if you wanted to, you know, learn, for example, how to do female characters, we're going to get to that next week. Female characters are a little bit harder because they are smoother, and smooth features are a little bit harder to kind of get right. For him, you can see the planes are kind of laid out quite well. He has a very angular face, so we can see the different features, like the bony features, the fat pads here. The mouth, the lips are very, very laid out quite well. For females, it's a little bit harder, but you know, we're still gonna do it. Yeah. There you go. It's always kind of a little bit harder to sort of narrate as you do it, because it's like you have to concentrate on two things at the same time. So sometimes, you know, when you do these, it's, you know, the end result might not look as good as if you would just do it, you know, without saying anything. But of course, that's not part of the series. Yeah. So I think if you want to do any of these tutorials from yesterday or today, you can of course do them from the live channel, or I'm also going to upload them to my videos channel next week. So if you want to follow them, I will probably, you know, try to make them as I can probably remove some stuff when it comes to the I can make it more accessible as a video. So if you want to wait for that, you can of course do that, or you can also do them right now. Yeah, so this basically this is the end for the for this. So if anybody followed this, you can you can always send me, you can add me on Instagram, Twitter, or go add it on Discord, show it to me. I'm excited to see what it looks like. Maybe that can also help me kind of improve the overall way I do this, for example. Yeah. And of course, if you have any requests what we could do, either characters or smaller things like a I don't know, something easier, you know. We can make sculpts for beginners, we can make sculpts for, I guess, advanced people, for pros. You know, I am always open for suggestions. Okay. I think I'm actually going to call it there. It's basically on point. The usual ending for the stream is around 20 or 11 p.m. for me, which is exactly right now. So yeah. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for chatting. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And maybe I'll see you next time. Tomorrow is going to be another stream, of course. Tomorrow I probably want to do something a little bit different. A little bit more theoretical. And not theoretical when it comes to how to sculpt something, but theoretical when it comes to Blender. Going to be interesting. But we're going to get there tomorrow, okay? For today, thank you for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, another thing, I want to start a new project, a new longer term project, maybe on Friday, maybe tomorrow too, we'll see. Somebody, Hustler, said Chun-Li. We're gonna actually do Chun-Li, but we're not gonna do Chun-Li, we're gonna do Chun-Li in the Reaper style, the Reaper figurine, but we're gonna actually make a Chun-Li figurine. Because I wanted to train or practice, I guess, full bodies a little bit more. We're going to actually create a Chun-Li figurine that I then also want to print out. So that's going to be the goal. So here's the, if you want to see it again, because you probably want, I want to show it to you at least. Look at this. Here's the first, this will be Chun-Li in the future, or at least that's the plan. Probably, yeah, except, you know, it's going to be full body. That's going to be what we're going to do with Chun-Li. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Thank you for joining. Enjoy the rest of your day, and maybe I'll see you next time. Take care. Take care.